What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 315, the end of the year special. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Yep, man. The year of hell has finally coming to an end.
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
Brian Manjoma.
What up, what up, what up?
And joining us, special guest for a little bit, Gamertag Radio's own Mr. Danny Pena.
Live from the West Coast, and it's 7:30 over here, and it's very late in the East Coast.
Yes, it is, man. By the way, because this will happen, right? So Danny hit me up like half an hour ago. He's like, yo, Tony, man, I'm playing Back for Blood. You want to join me? I'm like, oh, I got Throwdown. He's like, yo, can I jump in for a little bit? It's like, yeah, let's go, bruh. So that's what's up. Yeah. But before we start, doing our whole thing, Danny, what's been going on with you lately, man? How's life in the West Coast?
Life has been good. I'm liking it over here a lot. I'm loving it. Moved here with my girl, and I've been just focused on upgrading my equipment. You see, I have like a nice little setup now, and just creating content. I've been doing stuff from Telemundo now. I did like 2 videos. I did 2 videos for them, and I just released the last episode for GTR this year. That's it. Like we're done for 2020, I just recorded an episode with IGN yesterday, which comes out on Tuesday, and that one is about Game of the Year, nice. Our favorite games of the year. So, yeah, this a game there, Tony. You'll be like, yeah, Danny's my boy. He knows what's up.
So yeah. You told me what you said, but I'm not gonna say it publicly. Obviously, I'm not gonna blow up the spot. Yeah. And then, obviously, Danny, I want to congratulate you for your interview with Keanu Reeves. Man, that was big, bro.
Yeah. Thanks, man. That was some crazy, wild, super last minute stuff. But yeah, it was good. Shout out to CD Projekt Red for giving me the opportunity, man. It was a lot of fun. And you know what? Keanu was super cool, down to earth. And after that interview, I heard that he had the most fun recording that interview out of all the interviews he had that day.
Nice.
Ours was the best one.
Well, of course, it's nice. You, bro.
Yeah.
It's you,
But you know why? Yeah. You could tell that I'm a gamer. I was asking questions.
Yeah.
That I was just excited about, you know what I'm saying? So he noticed. He knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows, man. He probably thought you were breathtaking, man.
You're breathtaking. You'll know if he invites you to go ride bikes.
Yeah. All right. So as we always do with the end of the year specials, we're gonna start off with listing some of the biggest gaming stories of the year. 2020 in this case. Then we're going to end things off with listing our favorite games of the year. So, we're just going to get right into it. Biggest story of the year, unfortunately, the whole Cyberpunk fiasco, man. For you guys who don't know, Cyberpunk obviously has been very hyped for years and years, finally came out, and we kind of knew some things were off when reviewers weren't getting their review codes on time, and then we started seeing some footage of the last gen consoles, but we were like, maybe somebody's trolling, maybe that the PC version on low settings. No, turned out that was not the case. There's a reason why they CD Projekt Red hid those versions from people. They didn't want people to see that. And even, and I've said this before on videos, like this is why I believe, people like our mutual friend Paris Lilly didn't get his game until a day beforehand, because they knew that, if he gets his hands on this, he's going to be honest about it. It's going to make us look bad. And he was on Kind of Funny, and he laid it all out. He said the truth about the game. Very unfortunate. And then tonight we learned that Sony said, nope, pull this fucking game off our stores. This is broken. We're giving everybody a refund. This is Sony. Sony does not give refunds at all. So, Danny, man, what are your thoughts on all this craziness with Cyberpunk, bro?
Look, I'll say a couple of things. I'm having fun with the game. Bugs aside, I'm having a blast. I see the potential with the game, right? But the thing is, the bugs kills the experience, man. Kills the experience. On my the last episode of GTR, I said I can't put this game as game of the year at all. I can't. Even if it's PC or console, I just can't. It's just the game is not there, man. This game is way too early that came out. I think this game should have been delayed to like sometime early next year. But besides that, I have never seen in my life, because I've been doing this for a while, I have never seen a game this big getting pulled from the PlayStation Store or any platform like that. We have seen maybe like smaller games, like indies, like maybe it's very controversial or something like that, right? But a AAA game, think about it. We've seen Anthem, gone through some really bad reviews, right? It didn't get pulled.
Mhm.
Fallout 76, buggy game. It didn't get pulled. And there's other games too that I can't remember that right now on top of the head, but
WWE 2K20. That game was straight
2K20.
up broken right out the box.
Yeah.
People petitioned to get
You're
their
right.
refund, and it did not happen.
I forgot about that game too. That
And
was a
Danny,
good
just
one.
to add this, not only a big AAA game, but a game that PlayStation had plastered all over the place on PSN. Like, as soon as you open up PSN, first thing you see Cyberpunk. So this is, like you said, this is a big game for them, and they just said, no, we're pulling this. You know?
Yeah,
So,
it sucks because we know a lot of the devs that worked on the game over there, right? And they're super cool. That you could tell they're really excited. Even when we went to E3, they were like, dude, nervous, like, oh man, but they got to see us, everybody excited for the game. They have, people can't blame them. Don't blame the developers at all. You know, they had just been working on this game for years, since what, 2012,
Danny,
2013. You know what I'm saying?
But there you go. But Danny, they knew at least that this wasn't ready. That's all.
But
Just at least for the base model. The base
here's
model.
the thing.
Yeah, developers knew. They know if they're working on it. Like, yo, this isn't ready. This version.
Yeah, the devs know, but guess what, man? They're just doing their job. This is the higher ups, man. This is management.
Yep.
They're the ones that made this decision. The developers are just doing their job. They're just making the game. They knew there was bugs. The devs not gonna go on Twitter. Hey guys, we have bugs. They're not allowed to say those things. They're gonna get fired. They'll get in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
No. But I would think they would tell their higher ups, like, listen, this
They
is not
did.
ready. If this
They
comes
did.
out, it's gonna make us look bad.
Yeah.
Well, they
Hold
didn't make
on.
it seem like.
No. Here's
Adam, are you talking
that's-
about? Hold on, I want to ask something. Adam, are you talking
Yeah.
about the average grunts, or are you talking about the head programmers or head devs that made
the department. When
decisions?
The department manager talks to their team and they see what they're producing. Like, this is what we have. This is the final build. That development, the manager would then look at him like, all right, this is going to cause problems once it gets out into the wild. Let me go and bring this up to the other higher ups and say, hey, listen, before we start announcing all the shit, which you know they did, which is why they only showed the PC version for reviews. They knew. And that was the problem. At that point, didn't just say, you know what, we're going to delay this because this isn't ready, but the PC shit is ready and the next gen stuff is ready. So we're going to release that right now. You're good there. But the base ones, we're going to let that bake a little bit. Sorry, but hey, at least some of it is out. Just be upfront. That's it.
Well, I think the thing
Well,
about
like
it
you
is
said,
they totally knew that there was issues. No developer launches a game that has bugs inside of it doesn't know that these bugs are there. I can't remember what it's called. I think Chris mentioned it at some point. It was called like a negligible something or other. I can't remember what you said a while ago, but it's like there's a certain amount of things that you launch with the software, things that they already know that are already there that they'll essentially fix later. And maybe they somehow thought that they could fix this before anybody knew, but obviously they couldn't.
Yeah,
So.
well, a couple of things.
Yeah,
just real quick, just some clarification. During an investor call, which the transcript has been put out, the developers did tell the higher ups about these things. The higher ups said, "This is fine, put it out there." And on top of that, they promised Sony and Microsoft, CD Projekt Red did, that the game would be fine at launch. They said that day one patch is going to fix everything. So they obviously were not, truthful with them. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, there's two factors that go into kind of from a sales aspect. What Manny's talking about is like there's bug severity, right? There's tiers of bugs, and then there's a factor in business called calculated misery. So you have to determine from your customers what level of bullshit for price they're willing to accept in order to make a threshold of sales. So I will just say in the short version, they calculated wrong, right? They made a horrible mistake. But then on the other side, where's the pressure coming from for the higher ups to make such an egregious error in estimating what customers want? They knew what would happen, but on the other hand, CD Projekt Red has loans and investors to answer to. So if they didn't put out a product by the end of the year, they were going to be in probably serious financial trouble. So they made a lot of promises that they couldn't handle, and they were hoping for the best.
But they
This is the same principle like BioWare Magic and all that stuff. Like everything will come together at the end, and it just didn't. It did. This
So
is kind of unprecedented, but I mean, there was many factors working on. COVID's one of them. There's probably many other factors we don't know because we're not inside CD Projekt Red seeing what's happening.
Yeah. You know what? You know what sucks about all this, man? Dude, man, everybody felt like we all trusted CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Trusted, right? The
Mhm.
Witcher 3, one of the, in my opinion, one of the best games of the last generation. Right? It came also for the Nintendo Switch. Right? It wasn't them that worked on it. It was Saber Interactive, I think. They were the one
Yeah.
that worked on it. And the game was dope. Like it was, and everybody excited for Cyberpunk. Like, oh man, imagine this game on the Switch or other consoles. Oh man, like everybody excited. Dude, whoever thought that this was gonna happen? That Sony, out of all companies, were gonna take that game from the store right before the holidays. Because the developers, they're on vacation right now. On vacation for the holidays. And then they were gonna come back sometime in January to worked on the next patch. I think it's in for January and February.
That's right.
It sucks. This year has been great for a lot of people, but bad for a lot of other people too, man. And this sucks, man. I truly feel bad for CD Projekt Red, man.
Yeah. And
Really,
it's not
really
only
bad.
not only CD Projekt Red, and you know our friend Mike, who now works at PC Mag with me. He said not only is it bad for the developers, it's bad for the customers, right? People been waiting
Yeah.
for this game for years. They spent $60. $60 may not be easy to come by this year, and now they're shortchanged. So it's like nobody win. The only people that win are the higher ups who got their 8 million copies sold. You know?
Yeah. The good thing about all this is that now companies are going to be super careful on how they're going to market the game, how they're going to hype it, and they have to make sure that the game works everywhere. Because look, Tony, I know we've been having this debate for this whole year now. You were saying that the company developers should stop making games on the older consoles, right?
Yeah.
But Tony, there's games that came out for the past year. It's been fine.
Yeah.
It's been fine the whole time. This is the first game that we've seen that doesn't work right.
Yeah.
It's just off. This is the first one. So why should developers should just stop in general? Because honestly, it's not about the old consoles.
Oh no,
man.
the old
It's-
console's not
it's-
holding this one back. Like even the PC, this game's wrong. Like I want to make that
Yeah.
very, very clear. This game is
Yeah.
not in the state it's in because of the old consoles. I'm just saying the game is obviously not capable of running on the old consoles. But it's but I'm not saying that it was being held back or anything. It was just obviously a game that was not put out at the right time. We needed. I personally think it needed another year in development. I think it would have been better to release it next year. Where it would have been on the actual new consoles as well. But this is just mismanagement up and down, man. It's very sad this happened.
Yeah, they should have released PC version first, console later.
Yeah,
that
they
would have
could've
been
done
fine
that.
too. But I know people would have been super mad. But here's the thing: which one is worse, having a game that you just can't play, or a game that just got delayed? I'd rather the game get delayed. Halo Infinite is coming out next year. Hey,
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now.
take your time.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
your time. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
Like,
in hindsight, people are like, yo, these guys are smart for delaying this shit for a year
Yeah.
now,
Here-
yeah,
Here's the thing, just real
Here's
quick,
the
man. Just real quick. People would have been mad if they would have delayed this, let's say until April, like Paris said. They would have been mad, and they would have gone over that anger a week later. They would have been done with it. This is gonna persist forever now, Manny, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say this. I mean, one thing about it is that CD Projekt Red decided to play Dr. Frankenstein with literally the largest audience they could possibly do that, which is the general audience. The general audience is not as I'm going to say this. General audience is not as forgiving of buggy games as I would say PC owners. I would say PC people would probably be at the point where be like, okay, yeah, they'll fix it on the next patch, or hey, we're going to fix that shit too, right? That's what you usually see what happens on a PC.
Yeah.
This is like, this is equivalent of taking a DVD, having a DVD that doesn't work in your DVD player. That's the level of console playing, because
And you know what? Before I leave,
Yeah.
I got a couple of texts and calls from people that don't play games at all, and they know about this.
Wow.
They know about the game getting either bad reviews or bugs, and I bet you they probably know about this too now, about PlayStation removing the game. And you know why? Because, dude, once the mainstream media covers this, that's it. It's a wrap. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. That's like next level. It's not IGN and Kotaku. I'm talking about like CNN, MSNBC,
Telemundo.
BBC, like Telemundo, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of level.
Damn.
That's when things was like, yo, that's not good. Not only that, the company lost $1 billion in 24 hours.
Damn.
Yeah.
See, that's not good.
Nah, man, it backfired on him. It's backfired on him badly, man. But yeah, Danny, I know you got to get going, man. Thanks for being on. Yeah. Please let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Gamer Tag Radio. Follow me.
Like 2 more hours.
Twitter. No, you can find me anywhere, man. I'm on Twitter, Gamer Tag Radio, or Godfrey. I'm there. So, but I just want to say thanks for inviting me. I hope we could do this again, man. Longer than just 10 minutes.
Of course. Hey, Danny, we got you on when you weren't tired, bro.
Yeah.
All right, yo.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Right,
by the way, I'm going to be joining Danny for a Back for Blood stream, right? Tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Oh, later on. Whatever. I'll be on.
We'll see.
All right.
All right, Danny.
All right,
Peace
guys.
out.
Bye. Peace.
Later, man.
Later.
Yeah. All right, Brett, get in here, man. I know you're chomping at the bit.
Oh God, where the fuck do you even start?
By the way, this is literally what you said last time we talked about Cyberpunk.
Wait, real quick, just because it's all linked, just so we could clear this up, just in case people don't know. So now that it's pulled, does that mean the if you have it, it's not going to get patched? Like that's it, your shit's broke. If you do decide to keep it,
well, they're not going to patch it for until next month.
I don't think.
Yeah, January, like patch 1, January.
They said,
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's still going to happen, even though the game's been pulled. It wasn't pulled at that point. Usually, when games get pulled, it's no support.
That's still going to happen. That's still going to happen.
Yeah, it's still going to happen.
Yeah,
but
that's
your copy is not
going
to suddenly not work. You know. Anyway, Brett, go on, man.
Okay, so big subject matter. I'm going to start by I want to get a bead on everybody in the room and who they actually lay the blame in on this, because I've seen a lot of rabble from the gaming community, and everybody seems to just be targeting their anger towards somebody different. Like, oh, it's gamers who pre-ordered, or it's the developers who actually typed in the fucking code, or it's the directors of the developers who were in charge of these teams, or it's the executives that decided to ignore the signals and push it on. So I'm just really curious, so we're all on the same page. Who do you guys think is whose fault is this?
Upper management. Simple. Upper management. It's their fault. Not the developers. You can't blame them. They're just doing their job. It's the upper management. They're the ones that decided. And the shareholders too.
Wait. Hold on. Do you mean upper management or the executives? Because the executives
it's all the same thing.
It's all the
same thing.
No, it's not. Upper management manages the teams that make the games. They're the guys with the whip. It's usually different.
That's not upper management, Brett. That's not upper management.
All right. I mean, ultimately the shareholders too, because they're the ones that these people ultimately answer to. But Carlos,
I mean,
go ahead, Chris. Break it down, man.
All right. Well, I mean, what Carlos is going to talk about is middle management. Like when you separate management, and then you get into executive level, when you get into VP, C-level execs and all that, tiers going up. Middle management's one who manages the teams. Upper management, has to manage those guys, right? There's abstraction to going up. And then executives, they don't really look down at the teams. They're looking outward. So execs, CEOs, VPs, whatever, while they get a handle, like an overview of everything going on, then the C-level guys, they go outward, right? They're like, what resources can we get for the company? What kind of loans can we get? What kind of deals can we make? How can we expand? So that's more outward facing, right? So the problem is twofold. So you have executives who want to expand the company and grow their profits, right? It's always bigger, more money. How do we expand? How do we get more money? And then when you attract more money, it's usually through investors, right? And then shareholders. But then you have to answer to these people at the end of the day. So what happens, right? You make a promise of sales. You announce a product, but your announcement isn't good enough. You take it to investor meeting. They're like, we think 2 million is conservative. Why don't you shoot for 6? All right, we'll shoot for 6. Boom. Nobody talked to the guys downstairs though. This is all made at the top. So remember, all these conversations are happening outside, coming from investors to executives. Executives don't really know what's involved in that. They make big promises, and then they get big money, but then they owe big money. So then all that stuff rolls downhill, right? They say shit rolls downhill. That proverb couldn't be more true in any aspect of anything. So then it's up to the developers. They're given a scope which constantly changes because ideas are coming in from all over the place. Executives have ideas. People who are not creative think they're all of a sudden creative. And then you have the developers, artists, musicians, voice actors, writers who have to just scramble and just start pushing, sleeping under their desks, and and not having lives in order to make that happen, right? And so then now it's come to such a point. We saw it with Anthem. We're seeing Overboard, and now we're seeing it with this game. This doesn't even have. Does this game even have multiplayer?
No.
No, but they were going to put it in later.
Right?
They're
So
gonna change their tune real quick on that shit.
right. So now
Uh-huh.
now it's reached such a fever pitch that it's just spilled over. Like you just cannot make all these grand promises and then push the stuff down on the developers, and then when they don't deliver, and us as consumers, you can't blame the consumers. Like we could say stuff, and people could yell online and social media and this and that and the other. Ultimately, that doesn't matter. You can't punch down and blame your customers. You can't blame the developers because they don't have control over scope or timelines. They are given scope and timelines, right? They can make suggestions. Usually, like 99% of the time, those are not followed. So they are given direction and scope and timelines, and they have to somehow deliver. And so the blame really falls with execs who overpromise and underdeliver, and they get pressure from investors. Can you really blame the investors? Well, yes, it's double edged. No, because like really they're not in the company. They're just saying like, hey, we'd like to see this. Executives need to have spines and go, hey, that's not possible. Maybe understand a little bit more about what's involved in what you're selling, so that that that's not possible. When a guy tells you, hey, can you push out 6 million copies and have this grand scope open world game done in 3 years? Yeah, no, we can't. This is what we can do. And then outline it. Instead of promising and then going back down and it's like, guys, we have to deliver this in 3 years, make it happen. Right? So that's where the problem is.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree with a lot of that. Like personally, I blame the connection between upper management and executives, because I can, like as Chris said, like I can only give so much blame to the executives because to a certain extent it's not really their job. Everything is disassociated in a weird way. Like it's not their job to worry about what they're putting out for the most part. It's their job to wheel and deal and helm the company as a whole, not necessarily deal with the things it's internally manufacturing, except for situations like this. So, I gotta have a feeling that the developers are just kind of like, this is fucked. Everything is changing. You're kind of moving everything around on us. You're changing promises. You're over promising too. Like, and I think some of the upper devs / middle management, wherever that line is, like I feel like they overpromised as well. I think this game was way too ambitious from conception for a company like CD Projekt Red. They're talented, but they're not Rockstar. This was a hugely overambitious game, and somewhere between the higher level creatives and the upper management or whatever, things got overpromised. And these are like the creative directors and whatnot, making promises on behalf of the devs. So devs are like, this is fucking crazy. We can't do this. We don't know what you're asking from us. Their team leads are fairly sympathetic to them. I've actually known a few people in middle management, and it's a shitty place to be. You are really just between a rock and a hard spot. You're trying to direct an entire team. And these are the people you see every day. So, you come to care about them. And, then just, something comes down from executives, like, lay off 16 people. And they're in the shit position of deciding which 16 they have to lay off. That's my dad was in that position a lot of times, and I saw it ruin him. So middle management is actually, from everything I've come to find out, pretty connected to their team. So I imagine middle management then came to upper management and said, this is a shit show. Everything's on fire. We can't do the things that you're asking us. And at that point, upper management probably went to, executives and like, there's a little problem and we're a little behind. And, executives or up, upper levels are just like, oh, can you add this other thing? And they're like, yeah, we could probably do that. Sure. So that's where I lay the breakdown. So, I kind of blame, Chris, what would you call the people who were, in charge of the game from conception? The people who made all these fucking promises. Who the fuck is that?
Well, who initially makes promises?
Yeah, when they were conceptualizing the game and said, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this and this other thing, we're going to do this. They're setting the scope of the game. Like who is originally in charge of that? Because I mean, too ambitious.
I mean, usually it depends on what kind of company CD Projekt Red is, because if it's a top-down company, if everything's directed from the executive level down, then it's executives saying like, we want an open world game and a sequel to Cyberpunk, right? And then it starts from there, and then it trickles down, and then so VPs and stuff go, oh, we have an idea, let's get some star power. How about Keanu Reeves? And let's get this, and we should have like 10,000 people on the screen at the same time, and then it trickles down. Then senior project managers go, well, let's see how we could build this, and who can we hire, and all this, So if it's that kind of company, then it comes from there. If it's bottom up, which it doesn't seem like it is, from judging from the results. Usually top down management stumbles into these kind of problems. If it was bottom up, then if you have a round table and you get devs and the artists and everybody together and say, hey, we want to make a Cyberpunk project, and this is the scope, this is what we think we should do, then the developers know what they're capable of. All the creatives know what they're capable of. So they're going to lay out a conservative scope and a timeline that they probably can handle. Maybe things get out of scope, and then that gets pushed up, right? So some project manager goes, okay, this is our timeline, this is how we're going to split up the work. It goes up, and it goes up the chain till it gets approval. The VP looks at it, signs off, hey, that sounds good. Execs go, hey, this sounds brilliant, and they just bring it to the investors and go, hey, we're going to make an open world Cyberpunk game. And that's great. And then investors can go, hey, but can you have this? Can you have Keanu Reeves? Can you have, a giant world? How big can the map be? Can it be bigger than Rockstar's maps? And then maybe that stuff comes back down. But if you have bottom up, it's like, no, we can't make San Andreas, but we can do, kind of like The Witcher. Okay, well, fine. All right. So, and then it goes back and forth. That's not the scenario they're in right now. So I think a lot of those ideas came from the top, and then investors piled on that. And then you have a problem called feature creep. When they start working on the game, somebody else at the top has another brilliant idea that adds 5 to 10 months of development time onto things, right? When they're already backed up. So that's the thing. That's what I think happened in this situation.
It's hard. I mean, I don't know which one of those scenarios it is. I just know that CD Projekt Red sort of, had the guts to delay the game a bunch of times, except for the last time. I even mentioned this, like when it got delayed, I'm like, just don't give us a date. They delayed it they delayed it a couple of times, and they delayed it from November to December. I'm like, man, why do you even give us a date? Just make sure it's ready. And it seems like they, a lot of us don't like him, but what's his name? Jason Schreier was talking all about crunch. They've been crunching like crazy over there, and and they've been going through the night and day just trying to get this game to work. And it's like trying to get 5+ versions of this game to work, and none of them really work that well. One of them kind of does, but it's still buggy as hell. It's just this game was obviously not ready. They knew this. It's not something where it's like a week before, and for all of us that work in this room that work in development, it's like if you have a program, if you have a UI or a backend that has a shit ton of bugs, and and let's say you have something that works kind of. All you have to do is clear the bugs. Chris mentioned this before. You have a laundry list of tasks, of defects, of fixes that you have to implement. It's like a whole bunch of change orders that you have to work through. It's like, okay, this is gonna work. This bug, this bug, this bug. I'm sure CD Projekt Red has a poo-poo platter of fucking list of bugs, and they knew months ahead of time of how many bugs they needed to fix. Obviously, new bugs come out as time goes on, but I'm sure they had a shit ton of bugs to work through. I'm pretty sure most of this year has been just dedicated on bugs. And even the time that delayed this game, I'm sure they knew that, they knew back then that the PS4 and Xbox One version were unplayable. So this isn't something that a day one patch was ever going to fix. This was not something that a hotfix 1 or 2 were going to fix. This is something that was going to take time. And they clearly knew, and especially because of the marketing, they knew from the direction that they took that this game was going to go through a lot of criticism. But in their minds, they were thinking, well, maybe the PC version can be this, shining light that can paint a different picture of this game to the audience. And it flopped. And it's a shame. And you know what? This game needed? It needed a fucking Cyber Craig. Because if it did,
real quick, Carlos, the game didn't flop. It actually already.
No. In the perception, and I'm not talking about sales. Fuck sales. I'm talking about
just getting that because somebody's going to say something. What do you mean it flopped? So just
yeah.
get that out.
Well,
Anyway,
if it's losing money, then
it is losing money. But I'm talking about the actual
so then,
game. Sold 8 million. It's already made its production back. Anyway, go on, Carlos.
This game, by the perception.
Cyber Craig.
Yeah, this game needed a Cyber Craig. Halo Infinite was going to release. They knew how this game looked. They knew it wasn't up to par, but they thought they could get it. They could pass it by, the general audience. But it didn't pass by. People, Craiggate came out, and it put so much shame into the company that they had to delay this thing. And that's what Cyberpunk needed. They needed a fucking Craig. Because they kept showing this game through backdoor E3 meetings. We saw the whole Paris video where he's celebrating celebrating like watching the thing, but he saw it. None of us saw that thing. So it's just they tried to hide so many things about this game, and they did. There's this thing in programming called Big Bang testing, where it's like you try to implement so many things at the same time and just turn on the switch and make sure it works. And here it's like a Big Bang like presentation. It's like, okay, let's just throw out whatever the hell we can and let's see what happens. And they got a whole they got a fucking shit on their faces right now. And as far as Sony refunding the things, gotta give tip of my hats to them, because that's pro consumer. What CD Projekt Red was anti-consumer.
Yeah,
isn't that about a bitch?
Yeah, isn't that something? Remember the most
Wait,
I knew Brian was going to get here. But think about it, the most pro-consumer gaming company out there is now the most anti-consumer. Ain't that about a bitch? And I do want to say this, and I know Brian, I'll let you go. Sony,
you're wrong.
It is not. I'm not wrong, but anyway,
you're wrong.
Okay, Brian. Anyway, let me finish, bruh. Sony is not in the habit of giving out refunds as part of the policy. They must be getting bombarded by hundreds of thousands of angry people for them to do this. It is a big fucking deal, because Sony usually like, fuck that, you ain't getting no refunds. So they must be getting swamped, rightfully so. I mean, if you see the PS4 version, it's fucking ridiculous. My cousin, the voice of God, he bought the shit, he sold it right back. He's like, fuck this. This is insane. It's unplayable, So Brian, get in here, man. Sure. Yeah, Brian, get in here, man. Defend the honor of CD Projekt Red, your favorite company.
No, I just like how Carlos said that somehow Sony is pro-consumer. Like, really? Like
with this action, it is. With this action, in this case, it is. Yeah.
In this, wait. So then the company that told people that they're not getting a refund and they should wait until the game is fixed is pro-consumer.
No, the company that is giving refunds is pro-consumer.
No, that's what Sony said. Before all this, Sony was saying, yeah, just wait until the game is fixed.
Yeah, but
They were
now they are
refusing-
giving refunds.
No.
Brian.
Listen. They were refusing to give refunds for so long. So you can't call them pro-consumer because they were refusing to give refunds.
I said this action is more pro-consumer than what CD Projekt Red has
Brian's
done.
harping on what they did and said what they're doing now. We're talking about now. That what they said before was stupid. I agree with you, but they knew that was dumb. So now they rescinded that. Now they're doing the right thing. You know.
Well, they were also
on that. You know.
They were also under the assumption that the CD Projekt Red would be fixing whatever was wrong.
Because CD Projekt Red flat out told them, yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. They told them
and the reason why I'm mentioning this because it's fucking ironic.
Yeah,
you know, CD Projekt Red is touted by so many people, including our own truly Brian, about being super pro-consumer. Hold on, let me finish.
I will shut down that argument in 3 seconds.
Well, let me finish my argument before you shut it down. Damn. So, like, CD Projekt Red has a way better track record than Sony. That's not deniable. It's just I'm just showing the irony of an action that Sony is doing that's way more pro-consumer than the fact that CD Projekt Red released a freaking game that wasn't working on certain consoles. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to say Sony's a good company. They're fucking shit. Fuck Jim Ryan. That dude needs to get fired.
Jim Ryan's looking less like a liar now, though. You know.
Well, he looks the same as a liar, but there's just more liars with him. You know, they're all joining the club.
Man.
Okay, so let me just dial this back like really quickly and give some context. So first of all, Sony refused to give refunds for what it was announced that when CD Projekt Red apologized and said, "Hey, you know what? They admitted that they fucked up." Again, it's all out there to see. They said, if you don't like it, get refunds. What other company is saying that if you don't like something, get refunds? You rarely ever see that. Most companies just tell you to go and deal with it. That's just how they roll. Like, did EA say get refunds for Anthem? Did Bethesda say get refunds for Fallout and Skyrim? Again, no one's saying get refunds here, apart from CD Projekt Red. So you have to give them props for that. Sony refused to give refunds for so long. It's only today that they said, okay, you know what? Let's take the damn thing off the store so that it's not being sold. And the reason why they gave, the reason that they gave is complete bullshit. Okay, cool. Yeah, they will go on about like, oh, okay, we are Sony. We like to make sure that the stuff on our store is quality. That's complete bullshit because this is the same Sony that allowed the game on the store in the first place. It's the same Sony that still has Life of Man. Wait.
The Life of Black Tiger.
Let me finish. Life of Black Tiger is still on the store to this very day.
It works.
So Sony has no right saying that they care about the quality of stuff on the store. That's complete bullshit. It's so transparent. I'm surprised. Yeah, all this is them saying, and also you can still buy the physical version, which means that it's only the digital version is not available. And why would that be? Why would Sony be hesitant to sell a digital copy of the game? Because if they give refunds, it cuts into their profit. They get 30% of every single thing sold on the store, at least. So if they have to issue refunds, then that's coming out of them. And hence, they lose out on so much more money this way. Whereas if it's physical, you just go to Walmart, go to Best Buy, you give the money back, and that comes out of Best Buy's pocket, not Sony's pocket. So all this is them trying to say, hey, we want to make sure that there's quality stuff on our store, is them just slyly saying in corporate speak, hey, CD Projekt Red fucked up, and now we're losing money, so let's not do that. That's all this is. Like, anyone that thinks different is wrong. Because it's so transparent.
I disagree with that. Manny, go ahead.
And also...
Yeah. Okay, Brian, finish your point. I disagree with that completely. Anyway, go ahead.
Carlos, what you said about CD Projekt Red, did you know that on the GOG store, their refund policy is 30 days, no questions asked?
Wait, I'm not trying to make a moral equivalent here. I'm just saying
that you...
I don't care. That's my answer. I don't care.
You cannot say that they're anti-consumer, even though that they are the only digital store with no DRM and a 30-day money back
painting broad
refund
brushes
policy.
here.
No,
I didn't say.
no,
I said.
I am answering. You said that they were anti-consumer in this case. I'm like, look, you can't say that because you can't just paint the whole company as anti-consumer now because they had this one big fuck up.
You know
they
what's
lied?
anti-consumer?
Because
Yeah, they lied. They did.
Because they lied,
They
bro.
said this game was going to work on the old consoles. This game was working fine. They didn't show the fucking game.
They literally showed
game until.
They literally
Right.
showed footage of supposedly the PlayStation 4 running at 30 frames per second without any of the things that we're seeing currently. That's a fucking lie. That's no better than fucking Killzone.
That's anti-consumer. I mean, they might be anti-consumer overall. I mean, consumer friendly overall, and they do consumer friendly things, and they have a good track record before this game. But what they did with these console versions is the fucking epitome of anti-consumer. You're painting a picture about a game that doesn't work. You're touting these numbers of all of these pre-sales and all these things. We made up our money over 8 years since this has been announced, and development costs and everything, and people can't even fucking play the game, and you're touting it. That's fucked up. You know, Sony is a fucking piece of shit company. I don't care about Sony. But I'm just pointing out, it's fucking ironic that they're doing something even though they don't fucking mean it. I agree with you. They're sleazy, and they're double talking just because they're trying to virtual signal like they're fucking good in the fucking industry. They're all fucked up. That's why I'm not putting my fucking badge on some fucking company and saying and riding them like a fucking horse. No pun intended, because people call me a pony.
By the way, what happens when Microsoft decides to pull it from their store? What do we say then?
Microsoft's been giving refunds.
Yeah, no, they have, but I'm talking when they pull the game, if they do that.
I don't think they.
Now they're in a weird position right now. It's like, oh shit, Sony did this, maybe we should too. Because their customers are not having it any better.
No,
I don't think they will for one reason.
Because they had an option. Sony didn't give an option.
Also, CD Projekt Red didn't do any research and falsely said that you could get refunds on that game.
Yeah, they didn't realize that.
They just said, "Hey, they said contact Sony and can you now
from
you can
from Sony?
No, you can get refunds. On the website, it says that if you play at least 2 hours or less than 2 hours, you can get a refund.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they just said get a refund. People thought that it was a special exception to get the refund, and it's not. And then when Sony was just saying no refund, go and fuck yourselves, that's when people rallied back and said, hey, why can't I get a refund? So all this is in response to them, i.e. Sony, not giving refunds in the first place. Again, CD Projekt Red wants to give you the refund. They made that as a statement saying, hey, we will give you the refund if you don't like it.
But I should add, people wouldn't be asking for refunds if the game wasn't fucking broken in the first place. So, it ultimately comes back to that.
I am not denying that. Again, as I said, they made a big fuck up. It's a big fuck up, a fairly large fuck up. I am willing to say that it's the biggest fuck up of the year, easily. But at the same time, they are doing what they can to make sure that it's right. Hence why they said, okay, you know what? We will apologize. We will give you a roadmap as to what we plan to do in the future. We will give you refunds if you don't like that roadmap. What else can they do?
That is all they can do,
Granted,
unfortunately.
This should have never happened. All of this should have never happened. They should have just delayed it till July or something and call it a day. But unfortunately, some people or some person, probably in a suit, very nice suit, said, fuck it, let's put it out there anyway.
I agree.
Yeah, no, it's all the guys at the top. They're all ultimately to blame. If it was up to the guys actually making the game, we wouldn't be seeing this shit right now. They should have just did what 343 did. It's like, yo, wait another year. Again, people would have been pissed off for a week and then moved on to something else. Some other controversy would have caught their attention. But now this is just going to keep going and going and going and going. And it's just ironic how this is supposedly the most consumer-friendly company out there. And now they're a fucking villain overnight, basically, all because of this bullshit. They could have easily waited. And like I said, fuck the last gen versions, fuck all that shit. Wait another year, release it on the new gen systems, which are going to have a higher install base, and you would have made your money back over time. Look at The Witcher. The Witcher continues to make money. These motherfuckers, they just wanted a quick injection when they failed to realize this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're going to make your money back over time. You keep putting out content, you keep putting out good shit, people will continue buying your fucking game. But they're very extremely short-sighted with this. They just wanted that quick fix, and it came to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, like I said with Danny here before, it's like they've decided to play Dr. Frankenstein with the general audience, which is not what you do. Sorry,
you need to explain that analogy. I think you made.
I understand. What I mean is the largest. Okay, number one, it's no doubt that the console gamers are the largest market. You sell most of these guys that are selling PC games are always trying to make it a point to make a console version, because they'll probably make a lot more money from the console version than they will from the PC version. Yes, the PC version will make numbers eventually, but when is the last time have you ever seen a famous actor like Keanu Reeves or a bunch of other like big marketing connections with a PC game?
Mark Hamill and Wing Commander.
Mark Hamill and Wing Commander. What is that? A crowdfunded.
Yeah. Was the original crowdfunded?
The new one, yes. The new one.
I'm talking about the old one.
The old one. I mean, come on. PC. Those games were all old, and you could easily, Mark Hamill did that in less than a day. He probably charges way more money now. I'm saying in modern gaming, when is the last time when have you ever seen anything that the PC related that's as big as this? You don't.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't understand the analogy with Frankenstein. Like, did they bring people back from the dead from pieces?
They wanted to experiment. They pulled a fucking experiment on people. They want to sit there.
Okay, yes, I got you. I'm just understanding the Frankenstein part.
Put out a defective product. And then just, we'll fix it later. Dr. Frankenstein bullshit.
What I couldn't figure out is when they released that statement and they said, "Oh, we should have focused more on last gen." I mean, well, you were building it before. Well, now it's still relevant, that gen. If that game would have come out when it was planned in April, it would have bombed right out the box. Because there were no next.
It would have been worse. Would have been worse.
Here's a shit show. So it's like for them to say, "Oh, we should have focused on." Really, you had all these years. What the fuck were you focusing? Just the PC?
Yeah. By the way, I want to clarify this because on Twitter, people are saying, "Oh, this game's been developing for years." No. The game's actually been developing for 4 years. They started the pre-production in 2016 and full-on production in 2018. Just get that out the way.
When The Witcher was out of the way.
Yeah, so basically they already knew the new systems were coming,
I think the thing is I think what they did is they leveraged this. They said they didn't want to compromise the game. So they wanted it directly to work for PC. And, PC is kind of the more better. There's probably the better experiences out of the lesser evil about
not
all these.
Probably in this case.
So I think they just said that, how everybody says, oh yeah, the consoles are holding everything back. I think they didn't want to leverage that. I think they really wanted to make that PC version, which I think they really should have just made the PC version and then just release subsequent versions once that thing is tight, right? I mean, I just like I said, usually what they'll do those companies will be like, okay, we'll work on the console version, get that thing, and then we'll do the port of the console version. But I don't think CD Projekt Red works that way.
They flat out admitted that the console versions were an afterthought. They admitted that.
Yeah.
But they wanted the console
sales. But think about it like this.
The general audience interest of it.
Oh yeah, I agree with it. And think about it like this, right? And this is the unfortunate part. It paid off. They made their money, but who's suffering ultimately? Who is the people who bought this game in droves? Most of those 8 million people, console guys. And I'm talking about the old consoles. So think about it, like their big game, is being shown to the masses in the worst state possible. It's only a few people that are enjoying it on PC the way you're actually supposed to enjoy it. And even on PC, and I played the game on PC, I beat the game on PC. It is fucked up too. Bethesda level fucked up, sometimes even more, so either way, no matter how you slice it, this game should have been delayed, and I say for a year, until fall of 2021. This thing was not ready for prime time at all. Fuck all that, like, oh, we got to get it out. Like, it doesn't matter if it's been in production for 4 years. Wait another one,
And the fact, and the part that's most infuriating is when you play the game, you can tell right away that it was well made to an extent. It's like, whoa, I see what they're trying to do. Like you see the ambition, you see what the level of detail that they're doing into this game. And I'm playing. I mean, I'm playing it on PC with on my PC on high end specs. So it's like wow, this game, wow, it looks freaking amazing. But they weren't ready, and I feel bad. I feel the people who I feel the most bad about are the developers.
Yes,
and because they might be on break, but they're gonna come back, and there's gonna be a fucking light on their ass to get all of these things fixed as quickly as possible. Because CD Projekt Red and all of these people are gonna want to get the stink out of their freaking out of everyone's mouths from what shit show happened this month.
Well, I want to jump on this because there's a very important point. I'm sorry, Adam. I'll you go next. Very important point, right? What did we hear? What was one of the controversies about this game before it launched? Right, crunch. Right, crunch. What the fuck was the crunch for? And then think about it. Now they need to crunch some more. So it's like you made these guys bust their balls to make this fucking game, put it out in December for what? For nothing. There shouldn't have been a crunch in the first place. You should have just delayed this shit. It's fucking insane. Go ahead, Adam.
I think the crunch was for like the
crunch was for the last gen version. Holy shit! Yeah. Look how that turned out.
I was wondering is for the teams that come back. So, like you said, everyone's on break, and when they come back, just like in any project, they are all different teams, and we'll probably see maybe hopefully teams from the PC and help the console conversion and help that team out to see how they can try to make it to par. I don't know how you make specs and other requirements come to life and materialize in these old consoles to help this game out, because it looks like it's running low on memory and performance and horsepower overall. So the only way to do that is to GIMP it. That's the only thing I could see. I don't see how this will ever really look up to par. So it's a no-win.
It was not meant for those systems, Adam. I think it's
that's
obvious.
what I'm saying. I know. No, we know that's the thing, and that's what hurts, because they should have just said when they after doing the last delay, say, hey, listen, we tried it, we went to figure it out, it's not going to work. So it's for the Pro and Series X and above. Sorry. That's it. We're going to be the first to have to cut everybody else off. Just saying, this is if you want that best experience, because if not, it's going to look like crap if we go any lower. But they didn't do that. So now we're in this situation. Now that they're forced to try to work with this puzzle and fit everything together in this fucking box. And it's going to take a long time. It'd be amazing if they get that shit to work.
Yeah. No, you know what it is? I'm thinking about, like, you're trying to fit a gallon into an 8-ounce cup. It's like, you can't fucking do it, man. And here's the thing.
I believe the term is 5 pounds and 5 pounds of shit in 10 pounds, or 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah, there you go. Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else you guys want to say? Because we do have other stories of the year to cover here. But this is obviously the biggest fucking. This outshines the next story we're going to talk about by a long mile, which is bad, because this shouldn't have been. This game should have been like the year-end cap. You know what I'm saying? Like the bomb ass shit. Like, yeah, we got Cyberpunk. This game's fucking awesome. Fuck 2020, but at least we got this. But now this game is worse than Watch Dogs. That whole debacle, right? Because at least Watch Dogs fucking worked.
I do have one thing to say.
Go ahead, Brent. Yeah, and then we'll move on to the next segment.
Still gonna make fun of me for Fallout, Brian?
Of course. Because they've been making the same game for like 20 years and still broken. How does that work?
But it's not broken like this. You can still play it.
Yeah, it is. They're all broken.
No, it's not.
Oh, here we go.
Take those sunglasses off.
Apple. Okay, what's worse? What's worse? One company that makes one game that's broken, or one company that continuously makes a broken game?
One game that makes games with glitches that you can play. Another game makes a game that is completely
multiple
unplayable
games with the same glitches. What's worse?
What are those glitches, Brian?
Do you want me to start? Okay, which game do you want me to
go
start
ahead.
from?
Let's go with Skyrim.
The Skyrim. How about the time when I got soft locked out of the main mission because the NPC just walked away, and the mission just stopped
I
there.
was telling Tony earlier today. Sometimes it'll have trouble, like it'll get confused and not trigger something. That's a pain in the ass.
By the way, let's not go
It'll
too down
crash
the
too.
rabbit hole because we do have other stories to cover.
How about the
if we're gonna
memory
do, if
problem
we're gonna do
on
that, we're gonna be here
PS3?
for another 3 hours.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
here's my point. I told Tony this earlier today. Some quests don't trigger, and sometimes it crash.
You can fall to
That's
the ground.
about
NPCs fly around. There's like glitch where you get hit by the giant and then you fly away.
Brian, that adds character, and that's what people love about it. It's got the charm. Come on now.
We're not. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. What's your point, Brett?
No.
Brett's point is that because Cyberpunk is as bad, it's somehow a cover for like me criticizing Fallout, even though that the next Bethesda game will somehow have the same bugs. If it does, Brett, then you can't say shit.
No, I'm just sick of hearing people saying like, "Oh, this is like a Bethesda game." Like, motherfucker, I played all the Bethesda games. None of them were this bad. Not a single guy. Fallout 76 wasn't this bad. Never was it unplayable.
Really, Brett?
Yeah, because
Really, Brett?
tell me, if it were that bad, wouldn't a PlayStation?
Really, Brett?
I gotta integrate
Brett,
here.
come on.
Brett, we spent countless shows telling you about the bugs that everyone was talking about.
We spent 3 months talking about how broken Fallout 76 was, Brett. And somehow it was okay for you because your internet speed was fine. So I guess in Brett logic, it's okay for me since my PC version's fine.
No, it's not.
Okay.
They didn't take it down from the Sony store, Brian. This game is fucking unplayable.
You can still buy it
Like,
on
you need
disc.
to take off your rose-tinted glasses and see that this
You can still
is
play it
worse
on.
than that, man. This is a fucking outrage. This game is not ready to be released in any sense or way, like whatsoever. Like, it's not bugs. This thing is just barely playable, hobbled together fucking mess. It's different. You know it's different.
Brett, it's not different. It's pretty much the same.
So why did they take it off the PlayStation Store?
Because Sony are thinking about their bottom line and they don't want to give refunds because it hurts the pocket. They are a business. Businesses are in the business of making money.
And
Anything that makes anti-money is bad.
You know, I think who was
They
it
are
that
giving
brought up that it
refunds,
had
by
to
the
do with
way.
the main. Was it you who had brought up that it was the mainstream that triggered it? Because we see a lot of broken games, and I mentioned it. That 2K20, people put a petition, and that game till this day, you still can't fucking play a match. The ref doesn't know how to get on his knees.
Well, when you have Keanu Reeves in your game, you're gonna get a lot of attention.
2K20 is not on the level. Is not on the level.
So no, exactly, but that's what I'm saying. So
Cyberpunk.
that game is still exactly. So it comes down to that mainstream attention. Once it hits the mainstream, that's when someone's like, no, don't look over here for that shit, and whoop.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
when people made us think it wasn't good enough. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, well, yeah. If it does hit the mainstream, that is a huge problem. That is why people started to countries started making money, making laws against loot boxes because it got so bad it got into the general public. If it stays in the gaming space or if it stayed in the mobile space and nobody was paying attention to it, yeah, they would have just stayed there just as fine and dandy. But in this situation, it was so egregious that it hit because it was done on the general audience thing. That's literally like putting a giant advertising on a fucking sports stadium so that everybody could know what it is. That's the problem. If it stayed niche, if it stayed a little bit under the hood, kind of like a wrestling game, which is, they make money, but ultimately wrestling is sort of niche. So those sorts of games are not going to make as much of a big stink in the general media as literally the hugest game to launch.
That's what I'm saying, is that people, they weren't listening to the gamers because the community, the people actually played this niche thing, actually put together a petition, and I signed it. A bunch of people signed it. YouTubers signed it. They didn't give a shit. They were like, no, we're leaving it there and no refund. But then this makes it mainstream. It gets on, like you guys said, CNN and all the other ones, like, oh, fucking pull it. And it looks like that's what it takes. So for those listening, if there's a game you're bitching about, let's band together. We'll go to CNN and do one of those other things, and then we'll...
By the way, has it hit the mainstream yet? Because I thought Danny said if it hits it. I don't think it has hit it
That's
yet.
what you guys said. Somebody. That's what
No.
I heard.
No,
Somebody
Danny
they
said
saw it on
if it
mainstream
hits
media.
it. He said if it hits it. I don't think we. I
Well,
don't think
no,
it's been
he
up
said
yet.
he said even his friends that are not really gamers. Know
That's what
about
he meant.
this
Yeah,
shit.
and again, I mean, my cousin is a gamer, but he's a regular gamer. He's not like on Twitter or
no,
anything.
he is.
You know.
He is general audience.
Yeah,
general
he
audience
counts for
gamer.
that. Yeah, he does. Yeah. So think about it. If the general audiences are, I think that's what's going on. Since the general audiences are going, yo, what the fuck's up with this game? I want a refund. That's why it's, think about it. Sony, for them to do this, they must be getting hundreds and thousands of complaints, if not maybe millions of complaints.
Well, when
Oh,
you have
definitely.
the developers on their Twitter telling people to contact them from refunds, people are gonna do it.
Yeah,
And that's what they
yeah,
said.
it's
They
fucking
said, "Go
crazy, man. But I'm telling you, even people who are not on social media are, complaining about this or say, like, what the fuck's up with this game?
Yeah, totally. Like, what you have to remember is that ever since CD Projekt Red said, "Hey, get a refund," people have been just inundating Sony, like, "Give me a refund, give me a refund, give me a refund."
And Sony was
And then
first
when-
like, "Fuck you, we ain't giving you."
And then when
shit.
Sony just said,
Yeah.
"No, just wait," then of course that just snowballs, because then it's like, "Why aren't Sony giving me a refund?" And then everyone tells their friend, they tell their friend, and then just snowballs.
Yeah.
So again, this is all just a chain reaction of just like no refunds. Again,
Yeah, it's all
if you get
fucked up.
refunds from like Microsoft, then there's nothing. There's no drama, which is what I'm guessing is the case there. Microsoft are just saying, "Hey, there you go. There's your $6. Go buy Call of Duty or something." I don't know.
Yeah, like Carlos said, hopefully this gets Sony to change their fucking policy. This is ridiculous.
Microsoft is like, "Hey, we'll sell you Gears of War with the new DLC DLC."
Yeah. Hey, we're sorry you.
Microsoft's giving refunds.
Yeah, you're right. Microsoft, we're sorry you didn't like Cyberpunk. Could we interest you in Game Pass?
Yeah, a
Yeah,
whole
we
bunch of
introduced
games
Game
like
Pass.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment.
Yeah.
Speaking of Microsoft, the biggest story. Here's the thing: this story right here, this shit right here, is not only one of the biggest stories of the year. It's one of the biggest stories of the fucking generation. Probably in the last 20 years, man. Microsoft buys Bethesda, ZeniMax for, what was it, $7.5 billion? Like, big fucking deal,
Dude, people are still underplaying
Scrooge
that
money.
shit.
Yeah. So, Brett, by the way, I stole your story from you, so go ahead. You can talk about it.
You did it with full knowledge that that's what I
Of
already
course.
figured that would happen.
Yeah. So go ahead, man. Tell us about it.
Dude, it was one of the largest acquisitions in some kind of history. I forget what it was. Like it's cost more than Marvel. Like it's a huge thing, but I do see a lot of people still underplaying it. Like, man, Bethesda doesn't really, have any games. They don't have any games that really interest me. Like, really, out of their entire roster, there's just nothing. They're like, no, it's fine. I don't need it. None of that sounds like any fun. Okay.
Well, I mean, the
I
biggest
think it's hilarious.
it's not only it's only really not it's not even only Bethesda. It's id Software. It's a bunch of other studios.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a huge deal. Like,
it's almost on the level of somebody getting Sega, because that's how much lineage is in that company. We're not talking just about Bethesda. We're talking about id Software and all the other companies that are in there, along with Bethesda, who's gobbled up all these other franchises. So they got some shit.
Yeah, and the thing I said before, right? And it's funny because this whole news came out like a day after, we did Throw On Your Questions, and we were all like, yeah, man, Microsoft Game Pass, the reason that shit ain't doing so well is because they don't have any fucking games anybody cares about. Now they're gonna have games people fucking care about. Now they got Bethesda games, they got id Software, they got Shinji Mikami's company, like they got all these companies now. Now, like, not at the moment, obviously, but once they start putting out exclusive games on that thing, then I think Game Pass is going to be a real contender, because right now, objectively speaking, Game Pass is a good service. It's just they don't have anything compelling on it, because Microsoft first-party games this generation, they've made good games. They haven't made any great games, not on the level of Sony or Nintendo, right? Now they're going to have games that people give a fuck about. They're going to have Elder Scrolls 6. They're going to have Fallout 5. Like, people are going to go nuts for these things. And I know, their messaging has been kind of weird because they don't want to flat out say these games will not be coming to Sony, right? They don't want to say that yet, but that's what I think is going to be the case. Those games are going to be locked down to Xbox, and it's going to drive up subscriptions, and it's a smart move, you know. I know some people think they overpaid for ZeniMax. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but still, it's a good acquisition, you know. Very smart. Microsoft used their actual exclusive. What is Microsoft's biggest exclusive? Money, you know. So
Money,
and they've used it. So this is a huge deal, and you know, just to bring up the whole downplaying thing, the people who I see downplaying it are either, you know, Bethesda haters or Sony ponies. Let's just be real here. You know, they're like, fuck Bethesda games. I didn't like them anyway. And then you look at their trophies. They got fucking Bethesda games everywhere. You know, bunch of salty dudes.
I look at. I mean, like for me, I'm not really a big fan of Bethesda games, but I don't see. I'm not an idiot. I can definitely see that people totally love those fucking games, or the games that come from that studio. So it's a big deal. May not be a big deal for personally me. But you can't. I'm just I'm a minority in this situation. Most people love those games. So them picking up Microsoft picking up ZeniMax and Bethesda, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah. Again, you know, and to put more context into this, right? Because, you know, when it all happened, we were wondering, Crow, so, okay, what story is bigger than this? The only story I could think of, and this was 20 years ago, the biggest story was when Sega decided to stop producing consoles. That's how big this shit is, you know. So to downplay it, absolutely ridiculous, you know. And it again bodes well for Microsoft in the future moving forward. Now they're going to have actual first party games people give a fuck about, you know.
I think you just overlooked the other big one.
No, we're not there yet. Adam, we're talking about this one. Oh, you mean history-wise? What's the other one?
Yeah, history-wise, yeah, is when Microsoft decided that they were going to jump in to the console market and take that shit serious.
Is that really a big deal, though? Everybody was jumping into consoles back then.
No, because they were like, oh, that's a software company. Now they're going to actually make something. And it was like,
it is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. But yeah.
And remember, and it had the Ethernet port, and it had a hard drive and an operating system. Yeah. They were going to bring online play. All that shit was like, you're making up shit. You're not Chris Angel. You can't pull this shit off in the console. We do that on the PC, and they did it.
Yeah. No, I'm not downplaying the Xbox, but I'm saying Sega, which was, you know, one of the biggest gaming companies on earth, just stopping console manufacturing. That's a big deal. With Microsoft, everybody was making, Philips was making consoles, you know, all these other people were making consoles.
Sony was making consoles.
Sony was making consoles, you know what I'm saying? You know, but but that's here or there. I mean, we pretty much covered the whole Bethesda thing pretty well, unless you guys want to add any extra thoughts on it.
Yeah, these are the kind of news that I'm like, get me excited. You know, it's like, you know, Microsoft, they've had a really bad generation, in my opinion, this past generation. Just in terms of sheer number of quality and console sales. I guess the big shining light last generation was sort of their startup of Game Pass and building it up and getting all these new acquisitions and new development studios, like Ninja Theory, The Initiative, you know, Double Fine, and all those. But this is a freaking Mount Everest of announcements. And like Manny was talking, that he's not a particular fan of those games. I am. You know, I love the Elder Scrolls games. I love Fallout games, Doom. Like all of those games are games that I buy day one, and I'm glad that Microsoft is taking the initiative, no pun intended, to make it more compelling to play on Xbox, whether that be Xbox on the PC or Xbox on your phone via Game Pass or Xbox on the consoles. So yeah, it's something that I'm looking forward to. I hope Microsoft lets Bethesda do them. And yeah, hopefully it all works out.
Yep. Chris, I want to get your thoughts from a financial standpoint. You know, what does this all mean, and you know, moving forward?
What does it mean for Microsoft or Bethesda?
Both.
For Microsoft, this is it's not big news because this isn't their big money maker. Xbox isn't their biggest revenue division. The biggest revenue division is Azure and Enterprise Services. So to them, this foothold into gaming is pretty important to them because they're willing to put money into Xbox, even if it was in the red. They're willing to hold this space because it has attracted business to Azure. Look, Sony has become a client of Microsoft, actually leveraging Azure for themselves. So, like, this is a strategy in and of itself to garner business into their other sectors. For Bethesda, it's a big deal, right? Having more IPs and then having more license deals for those is a big deal. So they're looking for a return on investment that's huge. I mean, that's why you make all these acquisitions. So then being absorbed by a juggernaut like Microsoft, is a big deal because Microsoft is not drawing a line against Sony and Nintendo. So people just think of those three, right? Like those three competitors. It's not Microsoft trying to uh, uh squeeze Sony or Nintendo. They're trying to squeeze Google and Amazon.
Yeah.
That's what they're really trying to squeeze out. Microsoft wants to dominate um not just the gaming right now, but going forward with streaming and services. So they want to dominate that. So how do you dominate that? You control the biggest IPs and you provide the highest quality service to attract more people to yours. So what do? You block. So if Bethesda was on the table, and it might have been, I don't know the nitty gritty of how that deal came about or how Microsoft acquired them, but maybe they were up. They were fostering deals. So who would you have at the table? You'd have Google at the table. Google has money. Google easily has Microsoft money and more, right? Apple might have been at the table. Nvidia maybe, I don't know. But it behooves them to go, hey, we don't want Amazon taking them. We don't want Google taking it for Stadia. It's like, fuck that. We'll take it. And then we'll block their avenues, right? That's how competition works. And they have the money to do it.
Yeah. All right, man. There you go. Anything else you guys want to add to this, Bethesda's? No. Yeah.
I am kind of on the fence about this. On the one hand, it's great. Microsoft has more IPs to play with, which means that they can bolster their library, become more competitive, hence, i.e., bring out more games, which is always a very good thing. But on the other hand, Microsoft has a track record of just buying up companies and not doing shit with them, i.e., Rare. So I just don't want them to be like Rare, where Microsoft just buys them and then they sideline them to work on bullshit.
And then
That's just my biggest concern.
And then Bethesda's making avatars.
Yeah, again, it's just no. It's like if you're going to be buying up a whole bunch of IPs like that and a bunch of studios, then let them do what they keep on doing. Obviously, make them not have bugs in their games. But hey, it's Bethesda. So yeah, just make them make games. Make them continue to make games. Don't make them and sideline them off stuff that they don't do. Like if they do a whole bunch of RPGs, let them make RPGs. Obviously, let them venture out into other stuff. If they make good fantasy games, let them do fantasy games. If they do horror games, let them do horror games. For the love of God, do not touch Doom. Doom is fine. Somehow, Doom has come back like a phoenix. From Doom 3, it rose up from the ashes, and everyone's like, wow, it's Doom. It's great. Wolfenstein, after the last one, you can kind of sideline that for a bit until the bad taste goes out. But yeah, just let them do that,
Was that Raven Software that did that one? The Wolfenstein? Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein? It's in the Machine Games that does them now.
Machine Games? Okay.
Still Machine Games, yeah.
Yeah, Machine Games, yeah.
It's funny. I keep saying Raven Software. That they did like the old version of Wolfenstein.
Yeah, but also Machine Games also said that this last one, the one with the sisters and all that stuff, that this was a test. They even said this wasn't a full-fledged Wolfenstein game. This was just, see if we can try to do something different. It didn't work out, so I'm sure the next one will be back on track.
No, there you go.
Last good wait to be there.
All right, let's move on. Adam, what story do you want to highlight that happened this year in gaming?
It's got to be what's going on now with Epic and Apple. That big feud. I'm curious to see.
Oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot that did happen this year.
Yeah, that happened this year, and it's still going. And if somebody would have told me a year before that Epic would have been in this type of situation and that they would be playing with the big boys and doing these type of big lawsuits with Apple, I'm like, no, where are they going to get the money? But look at this, Fortnite's still going strong, bringing in all these other worlds. They just added The Walking Dead into their universe. I mean, the sky's the limit with Marvel.
They got Kratos, Master Chief.
Yeah, they got Kratos, Master Chief. Who knows? Popeye's in there somewhere probably. They got everything. So here it is. It's a massive game company. Then they have their own store. They built that up. People didn't think it was going to work out because of Steam and everything and GOG, but it did, and it's flourishing. So here it is now. They're saying, you know what? We're tired of paying your damn 30-something% fees. We want a bigger cut. And if not, we're going to pull our shit. And there was a whole big thing back and forth. And then Apple's like, nah, fuck it. We'll pull your shit down. That's it. You're gone. And they're in court. And we'll see where it goes from here. And I'm curious to see. I don't see how a store can, a manufacturer of the applications, the studio like Epic could fight this. But then again, it causes problems because they also create the engine, Unreal Engine, and then that applies to other things, the other apps that are there, and they still need to deploy some updates to them. And there's something now that's blocking that from certain games being updated because of this. It's causing all kinds of problems. So not just with their own IPs, with Fortnite stuff, but with the companies and that they work with their games and trying to get those up and running because now they have to fulfill those agreements. It's real complicated, and this is a very expensive battle in court. And we know Apple has deep pockets, and we also now know that Epic has deep pockets. But who's going to give? How long is this going to last? I mean, now people found there's a workaround to play Fortnite on your iPhone. You go through a website, and you can connect through that way. And that's the same way you could do GeForce Now. They were saying the same thing. It's like, oh, just go to this website, boom, 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 we got it up and running. And that's also the way Microsoft is planning for next year to deploy Xcloud on iOS, that you can just go through a web browser. That's it. And I don't think you can do the Safari. You'll just use like Chrome or Firefox on there. Yeah, and they can't do anything about that. They can't do anything about that. So where there's a will, there's a way, and that's the only way I can see it. I don't see Apple bending the knee and like, all right, fine, we'll give you a bigger cut. Because if they do it to them, they're gonna have to do it for everybody, and they're not gonna do that. So it's really funny to see Epic just say, you know what? No, we're going to take a stand here. And I don't know. I don't see them winning it, but they do, or they see a motive at the end of this. So we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, to me, that was a big story because that's still going.
Yeah, no, definitely one of the biggest stories of the year, man. It's just funny how all this other stuff happened. I almost completely forgot about that, but we talked about it on the show. And then it got so crazy how like that day when it happened, like Epic, they did like their like an homage to that commercial 1984. Yeah. That was crazy. But yeah, right. That's still ongoing. It's still evolving and all that. But it's just kind of funny. And I guess I'm saying this because I've been playing Cyberpunk and I'm kind of more susceptible. So you're seeing these two mega fucking corporations is going to war with each other. It's like these mega corps and shit. And we're just here like, okay, how does this affect me? It's really crazy seeing that, but it's like,
because I mean, it's there. At one hand, you see it over like 30-something%. That's still a lot. Anything over 30, that's still a lot. That's a big chunk. But then on the other hand, it's Apple's store. It's their store. It's like if it's you have a mall and you tell all the shops that come in, hey, this is a rate that you're gonna have to pay. Yeah, people are gonna bitch and stuff, but you can't bend down too much to everyone because then everybody else will want the same deal. Or you gave Century 21 a good deal. What about Forever 21, whatever it was? You can't do it. So I know one thing that Epic kept bringing up, I guess that the only company that got a pass on this was Amazon with their Amazon Video, their streaming thing.
Oh, really?
And that they don't get that 30-something% cut. They get a lesser cut. And they were like, why did you do it for them? So I think there's more to it, and that's what's coming up in court because that's the whole, and I think that's from what I heard, that's how this whole thing started, that somebody from Epic found out that there are some places, some applications, and some companies that do get a lesser rate, and that Amazon was one of them. So that's it. That was the door they needed to get crack open. I was like, all right, now we're running through. Now
Damn, man, Jimmy found that shit on the low on a Saturday night, and then caused off a controversy,
That's it.
Like, yo, did you know this shit? Yo, Bobby, come here, man. Yo, you see this shit? Excuse me.
Exactly.
That's crazy, man. Good story.
I got one.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Carlos, you're next, actually. So, what's another big story to happen this year?
I would like to remind the audience that next-gen consoles launched this year.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about. My PS5 is literally right here, this big fucking hulking like monolith and shit.
I kick it 3 to 4 times a day. It's under my desk, and I how big the shit is. And when I turn, and I move my chair.
But yeah, Carlos, give us some context, man. New consoles finally came out. I know you've been waiting since the beginning of last gen.
Yeah, I've been waiting since freaking Knack and Killzone Shadowfall came out.
Yo, man.
It was a mess.
Hot mess.
Xbox, I think, did the best in terms of the pre-roll of the consoles, like just sort of showcasing the console, giving it to the influencers so they can break it down. Digital Foundry, announcing the games and stuff, and going over all the console details. Sony, on the other hand, took their goddamn time to do anything. It started with a whole Mark Cerny presentation, the TED Talk that put everyone to sleep. That shit worked better than freaking Ambient. It was fucking weird, man. It's just like the anticipation for these consoles was pretty high, but somehow Sony in particular just didn't do a good job of advertisement. But like I mentioned beforehand, it wouldn't really matter because people love what they love. People know what they know, and what we know is that that PlayStation is a huge ass fucking brand, and it was gonna sell like hotcakes whenever this thing came out. And what happened? It released, and it sold like hotcakes, and most people couldn't get a freaking console that wanted one. And that is what I like. Sort of the meat towards like the discussion of this thing is, I think most people who want a PlayStation right now can't get one. People are going through the issues that a lot of sneakerheads have gone through for the past couple of years, and that's bots. And yeah, it's just crazy how this console launch has been sort of a disaster in terms of pre-orders, in terms of availability. It's just been nuts, man. And I had my issues with, and you guys know about this, I've talked about it in the show at length. I pre-ordered on Amazon. I pre-ordered in Walmart. I hooked Chris and Brett up with PS5s from Amazon, and I chose Walmart. Turns out I got the short end of the stick because those motherfuckers, they decided to not ship me shit, even though I freaking pre-ordered it a minute after it went live. So yeah, it's just,
Yo, by the way, real quick, Carlos, we got to give a huge shout out to Fergus Mills, who's in the chat right now. Because of him, you got your joint. Because of him, yeah.
Huge shout out to Fergus Mills. Also, huge shout out to You Should Know Me, aka These Nuts, who won our contest winning the biggest throwdown contest ever. And I'm actually pretty proud of how it went, man. It's just, we had like 80 heads live.
Yeah, we had 80 heads live, and not only are we proud of the fact that this was a bigger contest ever, I'm really proud of the fact of who got it. Like, my man is a truck driver. He was keeping the country going during the Rona and shit. Like, if anybody deserved that console, he deserved that shit. So
oh yeah, definitely.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him. So yeah, it's just, there's been a lot of emotions during the launch. We've gotten our hands with all these consoles. I've been playing Ori and the Blind Forest in 120 frames on HDR. It's freaking nuts in 4K. Excuse me, on my TV.
LG CX for life, son.
Yo, you already know, man. Yeah. And people are losing their shit over the DualSense, and it's crazy with the things that freaking controller can do. But yeah, it's just, the whole launch of a new generation and sort of wiping the slate clean of the freaking, for me, what the stank was of the last generation. And yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes next. Next year has a a slate of a bunch of new games that I'm looking forward to. They're all on older gen systems though, so we got to take that into account. But yeah,
just to add more context to this. So yeah, this year was obviously the year of the next gen consoles, right? And the funny thing is, this all kicked off last year at this time during the Video Game Awards when Microsoft unveiled the Xbox. You guys saw a reaction. We went fucking crazy because nobody was expecting that shit, right? And then obviously what followed, okay, what's Sony going to do? And you know what Sony did right afterwards? Reveal the logo. And that set the precedent for the whole year. What would you get from Sony? You got a logo. You got Mark Cerny boring you to death with some fucking shit. And then, it was just interesting, the strategies, right? Microsoft, almost every month, and then in the end, every week, giving you information over and over and over and over and over again, right? Sony, you get something every 3 months, right? But despite all that, the anticipation, the hype was bigger, way bigger for Sony than Microsoft, right? So it seemed like their strategy kind of worked despite some of the nonsense, right? Jim Ryan was talking about how Sony believes in console generations. They believe in all that shit. Microsoft was saying, no, we're, no gamer left behind. And now both companies flip. Now we're having games that are not coming on Xbox One, and then we're having PS4 games on PS5, all this other shit. But specifically about the launch, that was a fucking hot mess. So Sony puts out this presentation. It was all right. They finally revealed the price. And by the way, your boy Tony Polanco was right about those motherfucking prices. $399 digital, $499 physical, right? I called that shit. And I had my reason. I'm like, Sony, they learned their lessons from releasing a $600 console. They're not going to do that again. And Sony does not release consoles that end with a 4.9. It's always 9.9, right? So we get this presentation, and we're like, yeah, pre-orders go live tomorrow. We're like, what the fuck? Okay, tomorrow? That's kind of cutting close. Literally 2 hours later, Walmart said, fuck you guys. We're doing this shit now. We're putting these consoles out now. And then everybody said, Amazon was like, oh, shit, word? And then Best Buy's like, word? Everybody releases shit. And then, of course, the thing we can't overlook in this, what is one of the main reasons people have not gotten their consoles besides the fact that they're fucking scarce? These fucking bots, the scalpers, the bots. There's a reason I can't get a 3080 because of these motherfuckers, So that was a huge factor. Even today, Walmart, they were like, hey, at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, we're going to have consoles available. PS5, Xbox, 305, they were gone. They were fucking gone, It was nuts. So I don't know when the hell that whole situation is going to be resolved, but yeah. And then going back to a little bit before the console launch, and I've been complaining the whole year. I'm like, what the fuck are we getting these consoles for? There's nothing to play on them. I had to eat a little bit of crow on that, but now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, when am I going to play on PS5? It's just like, what I'm saying? Like, okay, there's nothing. I play Demon's Souls, I play Spider-Man. I'm kind of done, So
a passable version of Cyberpunk.
I play. I mean,
yeah, no, I'm
you ain't trying to play that shit. Don't get me wrong. PS5, great console. Xbox Series X, great consoles. And PS5 obviously had actual fucking exclusives you could buy because I don't know if somebody's gonna take the whole Craig Gate thing. Ooh, man. So that left Microsoft with a big fucking gap in their lineup, but people are still enjoying their fucking console. They're playing their old games because of Game Pass. They're looking better. They're running better. Same thing with Sony, so you can play your old games that look fucking good. But yeah, I would say it was a good launch. You could even argue this was the best launch Sony had. I know we discussed that before, but now again, I'm speaking for myself right now. I'm not at a point like, oh fuck, I don't have anything to play on PlayStation 5. I'm kind of done right now. It's a repeat of PS4. I'm like, I played all this shit in the beginning. It's like, oh, there's nothing left. I played it all. I played it all. Like, I'm probably gonna dabble some Demon's Souls. Don't get me wrong. I already got the platinum in both the Spider-Man games. By the way, Astro's. That is a sleeper, man. I was not expecting that fucking game to be that good. Like, it really showed you what this is all about, the DualSense. But yeah, this was a weirdly weird launch because of the Rona. By the way, I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for the Rona, this would have happened, right? We would have had these consoles unveiled at E3. We would have had the prices and all that. Probably during the summer, right before the launch, and things would have been normal, But obviously because of the Rona, all this other shit didn't happen. But despite that, and all these bots and all this other shit, it was still successful in the end on both ends because they're both selling out. It's not like you can buy these systems, so that's kind of a good thing or whatever. But hopefully we start getting more games. You know, that's the only thing I can say.
That report that came out that they're not actually making any money from this because of the attach rate, and that's how they know that so many of these consoles are in the hands of bots.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'll send you that. There was a financial report. It came out earlier today, and they were talking about the numbers, and they're seeing a very low attach rate. They were expecting more.
Yeah, of course, because they're sitting in somebody's house.
Exactly.
Adam, you're right though, because I've heard reports of like, dudes with like 3,000 fucking consoles in a warehouse and shit.
Yeah,
like,
and of course that's where they make their money. They're all taking a loss on these consoles.
Yeah.
They make their money in these attachments. They want everybody to go buy these games and stuff. But if the consoles aren't out there.
Yeah, but see, Walmart and Best Buy, these guys don't care because they only make their money off the initial sale, and that's it. It's Sony that loses out, and you could go back to your point of purchase and yell at Walmart all day. You got to do something about these bots. You got to fix your checkout system. You got to do IP filters, all this shit. Walmart's like, they don't care. They're not incentive. We'll get right on that.
They're like, we sold it already, so you know they don't.
They don't care.
It's the same thing that again, Carlos said it was in the sneakers. It's also in the action figure department too, where like you order these things and it was so ravaged by bots and stuff, and nobody normal person could actually get something. So
I heard that the UK is going to try to pass some laws or something to prevent U.S. scalpers from fucking shit over for them. I don't know how that's going to work.
Block scalpers altogether. They want to just stop the whole
something needs
process.
To be done. Because this is again like. People want their consoles, man. Like, especially this year, you need that release. So it's kind of fucked up. These idiots are ruining it for everybody,
The thing about, and now you have scalper companies too, where they literally have a way of, they supposedly hire you and they give, you have a certain amount of money and they just keep on trying to cash in. That's a problem,
Yeah, totally.
If it was just a normal seller that was sort of doing it, maybe one or two extra, that's fine. But they're getting thousands and thousands of consoles somehow.
Yeah. And, and I've said this before, I do not like to tell people how to spend their fucking money. But in this case, I have to make a stand. Don't buy a console from any of these fucking scalpers, man. Don't pay $1,000. It's not fucking worth it. Wait, And also, on the other hand, don't pre-order shit either. Don't pre-order games. Consoles, see, I can still justify pre-ordering console, right? Because it's a physical thing. Game, fuck you pre-order game for. It's digital. It's going to be there,
Carlos tried to pre-order a console and see what happened to him.
Some
man.
bullshit, man.
Bringing up bad memories. Walmart. Fuck Walmart, man. Of course. And Jim Ryan.
Yo, shout out to Walmart. They got my shit on here day one. Oh, Jim Ryan. Lion Ryan.
Is that motherfucking East Coast bias, man? Fuck that shit.
Yeah, Oh, shit. He already know. Hey, man, you shouldn't be living in El Paso then, motherfucker.
No, you can't go there because there is no Walmart in here. There was a whole big protest to make sure they don't show up.
So that is true.
They're overcompensating, They're going to ship people to New York. It's like, fuck these Texas people.
Yeah. Yo, by the way, Carlos, I'll give you a jab towards me. It's like, yeah, I live in El Paso, motherfucker, but at least I don't got 11 inches of snow right now. Fuck. Yo, I'm looking at like, yo, Carlos, I'm coming over, son. Fuck this snow.
Yo, man. During the day, you can walk with shorts and a T-shirt on.
Oh, my God. Over here freezing my ass off,
Short since 1998. All my legs are like a tank shipping. That's what that smell is.
Yo, man. Anyway, you guys want to say anything else about the consoles and launch and all that? I can't believe I almost forgot that was a story this year, bro. Oh, man.
You man, it's like it's always been there.
Yeah, it's like, PlayStation's always been here, man. Just taking up space, blocking out the sun, All right, let's move on. Manny, do you have anything story from this year?
Well, the biggest story, the story that affected everything.
The gaming story.
Gaming story, it affects gaming too. It's the coronavirus itself. Fucked everything over. Everything. Shows canceled, games delayed. Every single thing that you could possibly do that could happen. It's affected it. That's the biggest story of this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I do want to, just to keep it within the realm of gaming, right? It helped gaming a lot. I know in some cases it didn't, but like game sales soared through the roof this year because everybody was stuck at home. You know,
Yeah.
What else are you
gonna do? You have two choices. You can't go out. You can't go to normal places. So what do? You're gonna be home. So play some games. So, and out of all the industries, when it comes to video, entertainment, the video game industry saw the most growth during this time.
Yeah, it did. And remember, for a while you couldn't buy a Switch, you couldn't buy a PS4 because everybody was just buying them up.
Yep, and especially with the places, places like Target, which were those, with the essential, Target and Walmart, which are considered essential businesses. Those places were out of PlayStations, out of Xboxes, out of Switches, because everybody's like, well, I ain't got nothing else going on, so might as well play some games, right?
Yeah. And the thing about the game industry that helped it is the fact that what do you do with games? You play them at home. You download them from home. It's not like a theater. Those are all fucked, They had nowhere to compensate. Gaming kind of just went, okay, we just keep doing what we do,
Well, I mean, a lot of it doesn't, doesn't involve having a crew, a crew going on a location. A camera crew. Then you do eventually need to have actors, but even actors have home studios now. A lot of voice actors have little smaller sound studios in their own homes that they can record things for. So everything everything that is involved in the process of game making could ended up going home with every single developer and also performer.
That's right. Yeah, because think about it, these guys were developing games from home now, and they were situated to do so. Obviously, for some studios, it affected them, but most studios were still able to get their games out when they said they would be.
Yeah.
So obviously it did affect things, but in a weird way, it affected the gaming community in a positive way because the industry, I should say, because money just went crazy. Everybody was buying fucking games, and people had extra money because they were working from home. They weren't traveling. More money for games.
Well, yeah, those who could work at home. I mean, there's also the factor that lots of people also lost their jobs.
Yeah,
people people are currently losing their jobs as we speak because back when they said, hey, we're not going to let go people. Now they're letting go people, right?
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Adam. What were you going to say?
It was in Disney. Disney just laid off like 30,000 people. Or something.
30,000 people, and they gave their CFO a fucking bonus. Fuck them.
Yeah, you always hear about that shit, man.
Yeah. On the back
when they announce all these movies and stuff, people are like, why don't you just like cancel 2 of those Marvel movies and then you could use that money
pay your people? Yeah,
exactly.
Pay your people. No.
So that way they could survive.
Oh, we want you to go to our current. We want you to go to our service because we got so much stuff for you to look forward to. Oh, by the way, we're raising the price even though you lost your fucking job.
Yeah, but no, games were definitely like the unsung hero of this year. Definitely helped a lot of people. For some people it was Animal Crossing. For some people it was Streets of Rage 4. Some other people could be Doom. Others could be Final Fantasy. Like there was a title for everybody. So if you were stuck at home or if you unfortunately had to keep working during all this, when you came home you couldn't go out with your buddies anymore. You had a good game to play. So so gaming definitely helped a lot of people out.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Brian, what you got, man?
I actually don't have anything.
Really? I told you, man, to have something, motherfucker.
It's a tough one, like lots of good ones.
You have it. You have something local. You could do something local. Just
gaming though. Come on.
Yeah, gaming. Talk more about that whole thing that they want to do on the Scalpers. That they want to cancel it. You would know firsthand.
Okay,
that would make news today.
Fuck it, yeah, you could talk about that. Since you got nothing.
You know what? I got something.
Oh.
Project Xcloud. It finally came out. Microsoft finally talked about something and delivered the power of the cloud. So this was the foray into cloud gaming. Wait, Tony, did the Stadia come out this year or was it last year?
Last year.
Oh, okay. I was about to say the Stadia, but damn it. Yeah,
it feels like it just came out. No.
Yeah, Xcloud came out. It was really good. Microsoft surprised everyone by saying, hey, it's included in Game Pass. So it's like, oh, it's not a separate service. and it's all included. So you can play games on anything pretty much. You can play on your phone, on your PC. I'm sure there's a way to play it on your browser on the PS3 somehow. But yeah, it's really clever what they've done. Like, I actually have to applaud them for how seamless the whole thing is. It just works really well. Like, you log in and then you simply just play, and because everything's saved in the cloud, you have all your cloud storage. So you pretty much just pick up from where you leave. So it's kind of like a weird, better version of the Switch in that, hey, you can plug it in, put it on your TV, you play. You can take it away, you play. It's just everywhere. So Microsoft are really going out there and trying to just kill everything else that's not console related. So yeah, props to them.
Yeah, I want to take it a bit further because this year, a lot of, because most gamers don't really talk about it, but cloud gaming actually took off big this year. There was so many services. It kind of reminded me of like the early 90s console fucking craze where every company under the planet was fucking or under the sun I should say was releasing a console. But yeah, so this year, Stadia was last year, but this year we had Project Xcloud, like you said. We had GeForce Now, right? We had a Shadow, and the latest one, Luna, right? Amazon. Everybody's throwing their hat in, right? And it's just ironic. I'm like, out of all, because Google was the one that kind of really big, in a big way kicked it off. Stadia is the worst one out of all. I'm sorry, John Christ. I'm just being honest, because you got Project Xcloud. You say you have access to all these Xbox games, right? Which is dope, right? Fucking Luna is really good. You have access to their games and Ubisoft games, and on top of that, and this is why I think Luna is so cool, they have a dedicated controller that you play with it, and it connects to your Wi-Fi, so it reduces input lag even more, which is really, really cool. You have Shadow's fucking crazy. No one even talks about Shadow because it's from a French developer. They literally give you access to a high-end Windows 10 PC, so you're accessing it like it's your PC, just somebody else's. So they really went all out. So yeah, this year was definitely like the year of cloud gaming. Obviously, there's still a lot of kinks to work out, but it's in a way better state than when PS Now was around. I know PS Now is still around, but like when that shit first launched, it was fucking whack. So it's really cool, kind of interesting. And I've played and reviewed all of them. Go over Laptop Mag, I reviewed all these, and I was surprised. I'm like, damn, this is fucking good. I was playing Cyberpunk through GeForce Now just so I could test out ray tracing. It was like playing it on my regular PC, like no input lag whatsoever. Like the image quality sometimes could be kind of whack or whatever. I don't know the name of it. Is it called artifacting, where you see kind of like these colors like not blending right or whatever? I don't know what the fuck that shit's called, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like when you're in dark spaces, it kind of looks a little weird, but I'm like, this is cool. I'm playing this game on a way better PC than mine, and it looks really nice with all the ray tracing and shit. So cloud gaming, it's definitely, like I said, 20 years from now, people are going to be looking back at us like, you guys bought games single? What the fuck was wrong with you? They just have everything just available to them whenever, So cloud gaming, this was a very big year for cloud gaming, not just for Xcloud, just in general, So definitely something to talk about. Not something that mainstream gamers or whatever hardcore gamers, I should say, really talk about, but it's important because that's the future right there, people. Like it or not, it's the future. And Chris, what you got, man?
Well, I was thinking of a couple of mysterious things that happened this year. I think the biggest one to me, the one that I can't wrap my head around because of the console launches, and it was so close, it was only a few months out, was Microsoft shutting down Mixer.
Oh, shit. That did happen this year.
Yeah, and I really can't understand it. Like, I read a couple stories, but there's no real explanation. Like, they were growing the community from the millions they paid to Ninja, and there was a couple other guys. I forgot the other big streamer who jumped ship from Twitch and went over there.
Shroud.
Okay. Oh, Shroud. Yes, you're right. I mean, they threw millions at these guys. They had them in the contracts and stuff, and then there was people forming communities. There were people moving from Twitch. They're like, "Oh, fuck Twitch," getting harassed. You get DMCA'd. Oh, fuck this. We'll go over to Mixer, right? So they were building a community, and you're only like 4 months out from launching the Series X. So you'd think you'd want that exclusive community, and you'd have the streaming rights, and plus Microsoft had the infrastructure. They were going with XCloud. They have Azure, so it's like they were set to kind of like push this forward, right? And then they killed it. They just like a month. They gave 30 days notice. They're like, everybody out. We're done. We're gonna partner with, of all things, Facebook Gaming. They're gonna partner with them for streaming, and that's it. We're done. I'm like, what the fuck? No explanation. No, like, they didn't even. They said like, we're getting low attachments or whatever. But I'm like, but you have a console launching. This is your opportunity to expand that. You tie the exclusivity into the Series X, and you push it backwards, and you have XCloud, and you offer that with it. But they didn't. They just gave up, and I don't understand that.
They must have had some kind of deadline that they knew behind scenes. Like, hey, if we don't hit this number by this point, we cut it. You agree? You agree? All right, cool. That's it. No questions asked. And because it was all of a sudden, yeah, like you said, I think that was like a midweek too. It wasn't even like a weekend. It was like, yeah, we're done. We're cutting it.
Yeah, they just shut it down. And I mean, even if there was a deadline, why would you attract some of the biggest streamers off of Twitch, pay them millions to come over to your service that you shut down less than a year later, and then only 4 months before you're launching a new system?
Yeah, I think
and a new
Ninja
service.
knows. I think he definitely knows. There's no way they would have just pulled that on him. He still got all his money, like 11 million, whatever it was. So I'm sure he knows. They probably told him, it's like, hey, this is what we have. This is what we're going for. This is the number we're trying to reach by this point. If we don't reach it, then it's done. So,
that's also an adjacent story that happened this year. Ninja leaving Twitch, going to Mixer Exclusive, and now going back to Twitch.
Oh, he is? I thought he was on the YouTubes.
No, he's on Twitch now.
No, that's what's his name?
That's Dr. Disrespect.
Disrespect.
And that was the other mysterious thing. What happened to him in Twitch? Because he was like, he took Ninja's spot as the number one Twitch streamer, and then Twitch was paying him for exclusive content. Apparently, he had another multi-million-dollar contract with them, and then only a couple weeks later they dropped him, like just dropped him, banned him from the platform. Like outright banned him
without explanation.
There's no explanation.
Yeah,
there's still no explanation. He moves to YouTube, and he still claims, I think, still to now, that he doesn't know what happened. So, I don't know.
Maybe they just want it out. They're like, we don't want to pay this guy anymore.
Yeah, but then you don't ban somebody if you don't want to pay him anymore. You
just get out of the contract.
Yeah, what you do is you get out of the contract.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm sure if he really cared, he could get a lawyer and do an investigation.
Wasn't there? There was a lot of like streamer related controversies this year too. From I recall, Dr. Disrespect, that was another one, and then some other like smaller scale ones.
Pokemon was a huge one, but it's kind of stupid. Did you guys hear about that one?
I've been Pokimane. Is that the girl's name? Like.
Yeah, there's this huge controversy because it turns out that she had a boyfriend that she hid from her fans.
Okay.
So I guess it's a huge controversy because her fan base is a whole bunch of guys that think they have a shot at her. So when she announced that she had a boyfriend, it was like this huge thing. She had to apologize, and I think she had to take a break. It's fucking nuts, man.
Yo, let me just say something real quick for you guys out there that are watching these girls on Twitch or whatever, right? They have like girls that are that hot. They have boyfriends. I'm just letting you know right now. Whatever fantasies you have, stop it. Like if you see them like taking pictures that are not selfies and shit, it's probably their boyfriend. So stop with that nonsense. Go look for an actual girl, because that girl that you're giving. I'm gonna go. Let me just stop because I was about to
Remember
go off on
the-
OnlyFans,
remember
guys.
the-
Like,
Well,
bro,
No, remember the boy bands, the boy band era. Remember what
they
was
all
that
had
guy's name?
bitches.
Yeah,
Backstreet
no, but
Boys.
what was it? No, yeah, but remember
Well, they're not the
guy,
gay ones. You know, they had
manager?
boyfriends probably, but
He eventually died. The manager that died, but he was the one that like was ripping them all off, and he built all the bands. Anyway, he had a set of rules. I remember this because when he was still alive, he talked about the rules, and one of them was go ahead, you can date all these chicks up, but none of them are labeled as girlfriends because once you do that, you'll lose most of your
that's right.
market.
Yeah,
Don't even talk about it. So whenever he hears one of these members talking about, oh, I met so and so on tour, we're gonna get married, you do it, you're out of the group because of none of that shit. And so that was it. That was their whole thing. So they kept their private life literally private. Like they would just date, but they wouldn't make it serious. They couldn't even tell the girl if it was serious or not because of that. And that's the same applies here.
You're right.
Like you said, these people, they're desperate. And they all think, I might have a shot. You know,
I
and so
gave
they
money
keep
to
doing
her
it.
Patreon. I gave money to her OnlyFans. Like you're the only one. You fucking
I remember her
dumbass.
birthday.
Yeah, I said happy birthday to her on Twitter. Oh my god, and she
I
liked the
sent her
tweet.
I sent her 1 billion bits.
Yeah,
On
yo,
Twitter.
wasn't that some-
I bought 5 cases of bathwater.
Oh, yo, that
Oh.
fucking shit. You know, what was it? I heard. So I know. This could have been fake, but some girl, like some Instagram girl, some dude sent her like a fucking PlayStation 5 and a 3080 and shit. I'm like, bro, you really think you're gonna tap that? Come on, son.
No,
Get
man.
that shit. They're so. Oh, by the way, we can't say that word on Twitch anymore. Apparently, S with an imp at the end. We can't say that. Apparently, we can't call these guys what they are anymore.
I don't think
You know.
anyone here ever used that word.
No, but I'm like, okay, apparently you can't use that word. You can't use the cell word with the N at the beginning anymore. You can't call people virgins anymore. What the fuck? Like, what are we doing with language, you know? But yeah, for you, just quick, PSA for you guys giving these girls money. Stop it. Have some dignity, please. They're not fucking you. All right, just let it go. All right. Any other stories that happened this year that we want to bring up? Because there's probably some other shit. This year has been so fucking crazy. It's like
Halo.
like literally half the stories we talk about tonight. I'm like, that shit happened this year. You know. Go ahead, Brett.
Halo.
Oh yeah, Craiggate. We gotta talk
Craiggate.
about Craiggate. We gotta talk about Craiggate. All right. So for you guys who don't know, who don't watch Throwdown for whatever reason, right? Halo Infinite was supposed to be the game for Xbox Series X, right? So much so that they had Master Chief plastered all over the box, right? Like this was the game, right? We finally get to see it, and it was a disaster. The game looked like it came out from the Xbox 360 era. Like we had the one grunt, Craig, no life in his face and shit. The game would now look prime time. And then at first, 343 was saying, "Oh, that's just an artistic choice of ours. We're trying to evoke the aesthetics of the original Halo." Complete bullshit, obviously, because a week later they were like, you know what, guys, we're gonna put this back in the oven. We think it's undercooked, And seeing the whole Cyberpunk fiasco, they did the right thing. They did the right fucking thing. Because if you've seen those latest screenshots that they put out from Halo Infinite, the game was fucking amazing now. It looks great. So yeah, but that was huge. I mean, so it crippled Microsoft's Xbox Series X launch. It's like you launch a new console with absolutely no new first-party games at all. Say what you will about Sony having games on PS4. Those were at least new games. Microsoft had nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's crazy. Going back to what Paris said, Paris Lily, he said, this is the most important game for the launch. And yeah, that didn't work out. So, Manny, go ahead, man.
I mean, I always said on the show was like, you always need that new shiny thing to sort of attract people and show people what the future is going to be on these consoles. That's what launch titles are. And Halo Infinite wasn't even looking like that. It was looking like a last generation game.
So not even
and
that.
Previous generation, like Xbox 360 generation, so it's like. And then there's also the other factor where they had the idea of launching it on all the Xbox consoles, going from X all the way to the S series. So I mean, it's that's partially your point that you've been saying throughout the whole year, whereas like, why are we bothering to make these previous edition versions? Where they're sort of taking down the fidelity of these ones that are supposed to be the ones that attract you to the new things, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Craig Gateway, that was huge. Like
it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't have any of the things that you would expect from a next gen version. Like it had the slow texture loading. It didn't even have any sort of inkling of ray tracing. They weren't even running ray tracing.
No, they said they play it off the time of day or some bullshit.
No, they said that ray tracing was going to be implemented via a patch after the game.
After the game launched.
Yeah.
So even I'm thinking of this for Halo Infinite. I think that even Halo Infinite was also probably not going to be was going to be the Infinite moniker. Pretty much gives them the ability to make an unfinished game. Because it's infinite. You'll always have updates for it, right? So what if you have a semi-ending to the game, right? And you just kind of like say, okay, yeah, that's what it is. So
like a Destiny kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of like the Destiny thing, where you don't have a fully finished game, but it has an ending, to sort of give you the idea of it, but there's going to be more.
Yeah. And I also I think revisionist history is going to look more fondly on the news of them delaying this game because of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, they're going to compare it. They're going to do the comparison.
Here's the thing, and this comes from me working in publishing and other businesses. Nobody remembers delays. Once the shit's out, nobody remembers the delay anymore. You just remember that it's a really fucking good game. I can't, the good example.
No Man's Sky. We see that now. People love it.
Well, that wasn't a delay. That came out on time, but that was that was them fixing it. I mean, a good example, at least from the comic industry, is if you ever heard of the Dark Knight Returns, right? The Dark Knight Returns was horribly late every single month. 30 years later, nobody remembers the fuck that shit was late. They just remember
there's also this little book called The Watchmen. Right?
Yep.
Original was delayed to high hell. Right? Nobody talks about that anymore. Or more recent history, even though this is almost 20 years ago now. One of the biggest Marvel stories of all time, Marvel Civil War. Right? You pick up your graphic novel, you're like, this is great. That shit was delayed like a motherfucker. No one talks about that.
Nobody remembers delays. Yeah. But going into the Cyberpunk realm, people will remember that shit.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna remember that. Like I said. If they would have announced that the game was going to be delayed for till April, people would be pissed for a week and then forget about it. And then when the game drops and it's awesome, nobody will give a fuck.
Yeah, they won't remember that fucking delay. They'll be like, man, this game is fucking awesome.
That's it, but they screwed up, But, as we see here, 343, whoever made the decision, that was a good one. But at the same time, why do you think we saw that footage in that state? Because of the the guys upstairs, right? They were like, oh, it's Halo. People are going to fucking love it. And I'm telling you right now, if that game, if they put out that same exact footage that we saw and people loved it, the game would not have been delayed. It would have been out this fall. I guarantee you that. The only reason they delayed is because of the backlash, That's what happened. The developers, they knew that what was up. They knew this show was not ready, but the executives were like, fuck it, get a shit out. It's Halo, So that's two lessons right there. That's two lessons right there. Halo and fucking Cyberpunk. You see one where it's like, I mean, they're both the same. Where it's like executives just want the games out there, but at least in one instance, they were like, fuck it. They had the wherewithal to go, fuck it. No, delay the shit.
And the bigger sign of all of it is because is also their main guy at that company left not long after the delay happened.
Yeah.
So there was a serious problem.
At 343. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Didn't two leads leave?
It was two of them. Yeah, it was two of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Craig Gate was definitely big. All right. Anything else you guys want to bring up? Again, I'm pretty sure we missed some other stories, but yeah, I think we covered the big ones, the huge.
Are we announcing our game of the years today, or is that
Oh
that's
yeah,
also in
that's
here, right?
actually next, man. If we don't have anything to
Let's
do,
do
because
it.
remember, people, this is the last episode of Throwdown for the year, right? Normal Throwdown. So we're gonna go on for another hour. You know, the show ain't over yet, people.
Well, we got a special next. We got a special next week.
You know, we do have a special. That's going to be the last. Well, that's a special. I'm talking about the regular show. You know, the last one of the year. You know, but we do have the end of the generation special. People, we'll tell you more about that in a bit. But yeah, let's get into it, man. Let's list our top 3 games of the year and the biggest disappointment of the year. It's going to be spicy, caliente. You know, I'll start it off. I'm gonna list mine. So number 1 game for Shaboy. Shaboy. Shaboy.
I know what your disappointment is. I'm just waiting for it.
Oh man. Anyway, so number 1, Ghost of Tsushima. You already know, man. This game. Okay, you already. Okay, I love me some Sucker Punch, man. Great. Damn, can you calm down? I'm talking shit.
Sorry, I dropped my headset.
I love it, man. The chaos.
Red's fighting a bear.
You know, like yeah, man.
Red's fighting a bear. Don't mind him.
You know, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. You already know. I've said this many times. I love how expansive that world is. You really feel like you're in fucking ancient Japan. And this is coming from me. I don't even care about feudal Japan shit, and it made me a convert. I love the combat. The parrying system was dope. Again, coming from a guy who doesn't like parrying in games. It was great, you know, and I really loved the story of Jin. Like, it was just so well done, you know. Like, you feel like you're playing a movie. Like, when a game makes me feel like I'm in a movie, that's already top notch for me. So I love that shit, and you know, it was also a good platinum, a very fun platinum to get. So got to give it to that. My number 2, which was my number 1 for a while until Ghost of Tsushima, Final Fantasy VII Remake. This one, just like Ghost of Tsushima, this one surprised me. I was like, Final Fantasy, I don't really care about a remake. I don't need this shit, you know. But I played a demo of it, like a 3-hour demo, right before the Rona hit at an event. I'm like, damn, this is fucking good, you know. And that seems to be the consensus of most people that played Final Fantasy VII Remake. They're like, yo, this is way better than I expected, you know, really fucking good. I love the combat. I love the revamp of the story, and I also love the twists and turns. I'm like, okay, now I understand that remake means something more than you just remaking the game. This is like Evangelion shit, like rebuild, you know. So that's really cool. And also, by the way, in hindsight, because playing Cyberpunk made me realize, so Tony, you actually like a lot of Cyberpunk shit. You just didn't recognize it as Cyberpunk. Final Fantasy VII, like. The Shinra shit, that's all Cyberpunk. That's hardcore Cyberpunk. You know, mega corporation, crazy technology, oppressed people. I'm like, yeah, that's Cyberpunk, you know? But yes, Final Fantasy VII is so good, man. And I love how that whole game was just the whole first act of the original. It's like you really get to delve into that whole world, you know, of Midgard, you know? Fucking dope. It was great. The production value was up there. You know, the voice acting, everything about that game was just so good. You know, no complaints about that. And my number 3, this one jumped up real quick up the charts for me. And purely because of the fun I've been having with Brett and Chris, Demon Souls, man. Like, if you guys remember, this is how long Throwdown's been around. I played this shit in 2012 when it had it free on PSN. And I was like, fuck this shit. I'm like, I paid my dues. I paid my dues with these hard-ass games during the Nintendo era. I'm not trying to play this shit. But obviously, I played Bloodborne afterwards. I played Dark Souls 3. So when I play this shit again, I knew exactly what to do. Fucking loved it. Like, it's just so much fun, you know? Like, again, it's like, nobody does games like From Software. They really don't. Like, they have, you know, they hit different, you know, to coin a phrase. So fucking good, man. And I'm still trying. I don't know if I'm gonna get the platinum or not, but definitely been playing that and having fun, having a blast, man. And as for my personal biggest disappointment of the year, who you fanboys are gonna come at your boy right now, man?
You after this, you can't call us a pony down.
Yeah, Last of Us 2. I fucking said it. I fucking said it, man. You know, and here's the thing about that game, right? Gameplay wise, it is arguably the best that Naughty Dog has put out from a gameplay perspective, right? But story wise, what a fucking letdown, man. Like in my main sticking point was, and you guys can hear all my thoughts on our spoiler alert episode that we did back in whenever the fuck the game came out. Fucking Abby. That was my sticking point. Like, I'm not trying to play as this girl for half a fucking game. I don't care about her. I don't care about her story. I don't mind playing as her for a couple little sections here and there, but like, I'm trying to play as Ellie. That's what I want, and I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but huge disappointment there, but I was already kind of prepared for it, so it didn't sting as much. I'm like, I don't know, and I've said this from the beginning, I don't think Last of Us needed a sequel. I think it was perfectly fine being a standalone game. I thought the first game was fucking awesome, right? The way that game ended was perfect, absolutely perfect, right? This one was like an extended episode of The Walking Dead, basically, and I'm tired of that fucking show. So that was my biggest disappointment of the year, for sure. I know some people are gonna say, "Well, Tony, what about Avengers?" I already knew that game was gonna be trash, so no surprises there. I already knew that was gonna be fucking trash. But that's it for me. So let's move on to Adam. What are your 3 biggest games of 2020?
Streets of Rage 4
Yes.
was up there. Tony Hawk, the remake 1 and 2. Loved it. It was amazing. And of course, my game of the year, and it'll probably be my game for next year and the year after that. I just can't see anything surpassing it. Yakuza Like a Dragon. That game is so special. That is so special. Like that, I actually want to get the physical version so I can put that up on my wall, just like I did with The Division. That game touches me in such a way, man. Like when I play that,
wow!
When I play that game, I just feel like it's so refreshing. Every time I play, I'm going to encounter something I've never experienced. I'm going to talk to a weird NPC that's going to tell me some weird shit I've never heard in a game. I mean, they're throwing so much at me that it's so refreshing because of that. It's so different. There's nothing out there. Someone could say, well, there's this game. No, it's not. It's not. I'm telling you, it's so special. And I love it. I love the fact that they created it and it's here and it's a thing. And I think they're going to keep going with this, with the turn base and with Ichiban. So hopefully they do. I love it. So those are mine. And when it comes to disappointment, the only one I could say that sort of was a disappointment, just because I'm looking at my playtime, I'm like, shit, I'm not even in it, is Call of Duty. My Call of Duty Cold War.
Uh-oh.
I love my Call of Duties, and this one just isn't doing it. I finished the campaign, I jumped into the multiplayer, and it just didn't feel right. Maybe because of how great the Modern Warfare felt with all the weapons and stuff. And I was like, oh, we'll jump into Warzone. Warzone is more of that with some of the other Cold War stuff sprinkled, and it just doesn't. It's just not pulling me. I tried the zombies a bunch, and that wasn't doing it. And it sucks because I was looking forward into putting a lot of time into it and prestiging up and doing all this stuff. And I have no desire to do it. I have no desire. I go in there, I play a little bit, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not connected to it. And that's the disappointment for me because I don't think it's a bad game. I think that comparing it to Modern Warfare, that's such a high bar. And they're like, well, don't compare it. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't, but it's this year's offering. And of course, you're going to compare it to the last year's offering. And last year's offering was off the chain. I love that game. Right now, even if someone say, all right, they're both in front of you, which one are you going to play? It's hands down Modern Warfare. I'm going to go, that's where it's at. It's just something about it. Feels great. Even the campaign. Yes, there's multiple paths, there's multiple endings in Cold War. But again, I really don't even have a desire to go back and try those. I thought I was going to do it. I tried it once, and then I was like, oh, well, it's one of those where I have to go 2 steps back because there was something I had to trigger, and it's 2 steps back, meaning 2 chapters back, and then play from that point forward, sort of like an Until Dawn type of thing, just to create the correct sequence. And I was like, I really don't have the desire to do that. That sucks because I really do I liked it for the first playthrough for the campaign, and it's going to be different depending on how people go through it, and it's fun. But when it comes to the multiplayer and all that stuff, that's what really is the bread and butter for it because it keeps you engaged. It just wasn't doing it for me. And I'll just give them time. They've scrapped the plan of always making you buy packs of maps and stuff. So that's all free now because of the battle pass system. So maybe they'll bring out something. They had Nuketown, they brought that in, and that was through the zombie map, and that was a half-ass attempt because it's like, oh, zombies and Nuketown, let's do that. That was a classic map, and it didn't feel right. It was like, oh, this is a small portion of it, and it's moving around, and it's like, all right, clear this area, zombies. All right, you did that. Now it moves again, clear this. I'm like, oh, come on now. This isn't. So that was a big letdown. So those were my 3 big games in my letdown.
Oh man. All right, Chris.
All right, so I'll do it in reverse. So for number 3, I had Streets of Rage 4.
Nice.
I
Nice.
thought I had so much fun with it. It took me back. I miss beat 'em up so much. So it was just great. It was so well done. The art style and the animation, the way the game played, and it felt like the old game. It's just I don't care how ridiculous the story is. It's just you're walking down the street beating the shit out of everything in the way, and then everything gets it gets more crazy until you're just punching mechs. Sure, why not? You know. That it felt great. I was looking forward to the game and it didn't disappoint. So that hype was completely justified. And number 2, I have Demon Souls because I have been asking for that remake for years on Throwdown. You go back to every year and it's like, Chris, what every time on we get a question, what do you want remade? What's my answer? Demon Souls. Demon Souls, please give that back to me. Fucking great. I finally got it, and it's great. And so I'm going to give an honorable mention here because during the Rona, like if you want to flashback to good times, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 was fantastic.
Love it.
Fantastic game. And I had to stick it on here. So it's not I give an honorable mention because like I didn't play it too much, but I enjoyed what I played, like the music and just the feel of the game took me back to better times. So that was good. And then so my top spot is Ghost of Tsushima. Just fantastic all around.
Damn, over
Fantastic
Demon
story.
Souls.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I have different experience with Demon Souls because I played it already, right? So it's not fair. Like this remake, I do have a couple issues with it, not big deals, but I've already platinum Demon Souls, years ago. Already had my fun with it, and I'm enjoying this one. But I couldn't give it that top spot because the job Sucker Punch did with Ghost of Tsushima is amazing. It is the storytelling, everything about that game. I started looking up stuff about Mongols. I didn't give a shit about Mongolians. I'm like, did they really have this shit? I'm picking up shit in the game. You look at the collectibles and you're like, wait, they really had this shit? And they did. It's like, wow, they did their homework. They did all this research. And the game feels amazing. So you really feel like you're in a culture. Jin almost topped Arthur Morgan for me in terms of protagonists.
Yeah.
That I enjoy. But no, but culturally I'm closer to Arthur because I live in America.
Yeah.
So it's like Arthur's still up there. But Jin, man, like his story is so fucking good. It's so good. So yeah, that's like game of the year for me easily. Fuck Naughty Dog. That's the game of the year. I don't care what anybody says. Fight me. I don't care.
Yeah. No, it's funny you mentioned that because I was literally thinking about that. Like, yo, Jin is almost as good a character as Arthur. Arthur is the best character of the whole generation, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
and also
absolutely.
from the best game of the generation. But yeah, it was like Jin. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? But yeah, Jin was fucking great, man. All right, Brett, man, what you got?
Hello.
Yo.
Okay. Best of the year. I mean, I'm pretty much late enough in the rotation. I'm saying things that everybody else has said, but I do have to say, Demon Souls was definitely up there. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah, I know it's nothing exciting, but like there weren't that many huge, awesome, revolutionary games. There was a lot of polished end of generation stuff. And I hate to sound like I'm grabbing the low hanging fruit, but I was genuinely disappointed in Cyberpunk. I really liked the setting. I was trying to tone down my expectations so as to not be disappointed, and yet I was still disappointed. So that was the biggest upset for me.
Yeah, understandably, man. All right, Carlos.
So I'm going in reverse order, like Chris. Miles Morales is my number 3.
Ooh, excuse me?
Yeah, man. I think that game is just I love Spider-Man 2018. This is even better in a lot of ways. Obviously, it's not a full-length game, which is the reason why it's number 3. But the content it has, it's so good, and it runs like crazy. Like when you run that ray tracing with 60 frames, that shit is crazy, man. On my TV, Spider-Man. I mean, Miles Morales is number 3. Number 2. And some people might guess this by the way I talk about it sometimes, but Ori and the Will of the Wisps, number 2. That game, it's almost perfection of a platformer. You know, it has so many features you can do. It looks fucking beautiful, and it's the platforming is amazing in that game, and it's challenging at times. And it has a pretty cool story too. And man, when I got the Xbox Series X, it came with that patch that's 120 frames on 4K with HDR, and man, that shit looks incredible, man. And I'm pretty happy with what Moon Studios did with this one, because Ori and the Blind Forest was an amazing game as well, and they followed it up with a game that I think is even superior to that. So yeah, that's my number 2, and number 1, which is funny because I think I was the most skeptical of this game out of almost anyone, and that's Final Fantasy VII Remake. I was, I was always going to play this game, but I always had my hands crossed. Like before the game came out, I was like, okay, we'll see. Yeah, you're trying to remake one of the greatest games ever made. Let's see what you can do. And man, everything about that game is so polished. The voice acting, the graphics, the cinematics, the levels, everything. And man, the way they took that turn is the part, because I didn't want to replay that same game because a lot of the emotional beats, it's how can you replicate that? A lot of the story beats that you went through, and the direction that they took it, I'm like, yes. And you know what? It made me even exponentially more excited for the sequels.
Oh yeah.
I can't fucking wait for those games. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake is my game of the year. I want to give a huge shout out to Ghost of Tsushima, which is pretty amazing. But I haven't beaten that game yet, so I still can't really give it my full judgment. What else did I play? Yeah, I played a couple of other games that are pretty good. My biggest disappointment is, and it's not a bad game. It's not a game and it's a game that I'm looking forward to play more. Like I've been posting on our Twitter chat a lot of videos about the game, and talking about, oh shit, I'm running this shit on 50 frames per second with everything on, and that's Cyberpunk. I think the discussions and that people are having, the things that are being said about the game, the way it's working on a lot of the consoles, on the older consoles, it's just a disappointment, man. And it's Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if you guys remember this. That was my most anticipated game of the year.
Oh shit.
And the fact that I can't play the game without seeing, Twitter articles, my friends, the media, everyone talking about how fucked up the situation is, and how obviously it's super fucked up. It's just disappointing, Yeah, I even though I'm probably gonna enjoy the game, I'm pretty sure, because I'm one of the people that are running it on high end specs on a PC, so I'm gonna have a better experience than most people are, and even that's disappointing in a way. I kind of feel bad.
Yeah, but even still, with all those bugs, bro.
Exactly. Yeah, we were talking about Paris earlier. Yeah. Paris has a 3090, and he was having so many issues with bugs.
By the way, Paris, I don't know if you saw him on Kind of Funny. He said he's done playing the game. Paris, the face of Cyberpunk, said he's done. He can't play this anymore. He's done with it. Like, I'm not talking about he finished the campaign. He said he doesn't want to play anymore because of how bad the bugs are.
Yeah. So it's a shame. I hope that CD Projekt Red, and I'm sure they will, in the coming months can make this experience much more, playable. And yeah, I also want to get another huge shout out to another honorable mention, not for disappointment, but for a great game, is Doom Eternal.
Yes,
That
that's
game-
my honorable mention, by the
Oh
way.
yes. Oh yeah.
That
This is
game,
not on
like-
Switch. Not on Switch, please. No. They tried.
it runs.
Switch. What's a Switch?
Yeah, man, it's Doom Eternal runs amazing. It has a killer soundtrack. It's just fun, nonstop shooting action. So yeah,
Oh,
that's up for me.
I forgot my most disappointing game of the year.
Oh, what
And
was it?
It's gonna be a little controversial. People might scratch their heads.
Astro's Playroom.
No, that game is fantastic. I was
Wow,
like, fuck Mario, get Astro Boy.
Well, I already, killed half our audience by saying The Last of Us 2, so you can't get any worse than that.
No, yeah, that just in general. Oh my god, no, this
think
isn't
I
a
know what it
Sony
is.
specific thing. It's Resident Evil 3.
Oh, excuse me?
Yeah,
Yep.
Wow.
listen, they and it became to me more so after playing Demon Souls because you have so From gave this game to Blue Point, and Blue Point was able to do a fantastic job of making this game, right? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I had a couple of gripes with some of the systems they changed, but overall, it is a faithful remake, and the game looks gorgeous, right? Can't knock Capcom, but Capcom made the original game, they made this remake. Capcom, why the hell did you pull out the stuff that made the Resident Evil 3 unique? Where were my choices in paths to take and alternate story paths? It was like on rails. I didn't ask for Resident Evil Snap. I wanted Resident Evil 3, but you didn't give us that. You gave us a linear thing with a boss that stalks you constantly. And honestly, like, out of all the Resident Evils, that was almost the easiest plat to get out of all of them for me. I platinumed that game really fast.
Wow.
And yeah, that was even with playing on Nightmare mode and having Nemesis just being cheesy as shit in the last fight. I still got the platinum. But it was the same thing. It was just repeat over and over. The old game, this is a PS1 game, had multiple branching paths that you could talk to different people and then make choices. And then those choices affected the ending. There's none of that here. So they really dropped the ball on that. Also, the game is fucking dirt short. And it's short because they were working on Resident Evil Resistance, which nobody asked for.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my disappointment.
I mean, I still enjoyed it, but I'm not going to disagree with anything you said. They really could have, and think about it like this, Chris. I know you must be even more disappointed because of the fact that Resident Evil 2 remake was so fucking good.
Oh my God, that was like masterpiece. Was the
It's
French
almost
kiss,
like
the chef's kiss?
Yeah.
It's almost looked like they took the shit that should have, the Nemesis should have worked like the Tyrant, the Mr. X.
Yeah, that's right.
They
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They literally
in
took
this
that one
version of
unique
3,
thing
he
that
was
the game
scripted.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, I enjoyed the game, but yeah, I feel where you're coming from. Let's see. Yeah, Doom Eternal. That's one of my other honorary mentions because that was fucking good. It's like that's what first-person shooters start to me. It's just go fucking crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that are just got lost in the shuffle, man. I still need to play Yakuza Life Like a Dragon.
That's a good game.
I still need to play Valhalla. I still need to play freaking Call of Duty. There's just so many games, man, that are just put on the wayside.
Yeah,
Bugsnax.
I got the game. I got the game. I heard
It's in the PS Plus collection,
Yeah, it's a
right?
PS Plus game.
I'll tell you what's sad. I'll tell you what's sad right now. From what I've heard from everyone here, now one person put the one game that really the industry was hyped on because it sounded revolutionary. They're like, "What are they doing?" And now
We talked about Cyberpunk for an hour already, man.
No, Watch Dogs Legions. Remember where you could be anybody?
Oh, I played. I'm
I'm
going to finish that.
I
Yeah.
know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like that was on everyone's radar for the longest time, and then it came and went. But you know what? Jump back in March because that's when they have the 4-player co-op for story. That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be like GTA, but with hacking and shit.
Did you
Or it's
review
gonna
that
be
game?
like the Division?
No.
I reviewed it. I gave it a good score too. I believe.
Yeah, I didn't do that one.
Yeah, I reviewed it. All right, and let's end things off. I forgot to tell you guys ahead of time because I Yeah, we do this.
Wait,
all the
wait!
time too.
Didn't you forget?
Oh yeah,
somebody?
no, I did forget because there's two guys here, the two oddballs who don't play games that are new. But it's always interesting getting your take. So, Manny, what did you play this year? What did you like?
Well, yeah, I do actually have a top 3, motherfucker.
You do. You usually
Yes, I
don't.
do.
You usually don't.
I do actually do. I do have the top 3 because I did actually play some games this year.
Oh wow! Look at that.
My third is actually going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales. A lot of, one thing about that game is, the one thing that you can't deny about those Spider-Man games is just swinging around and having those games is just a joy to play, and it's more of the same, but just with a little bit more different stuff. Now you get to play as Miles, and Miles is, one thing I have to say about him is he's a really well developed character. He's incredibly likable, and it's a good. I still have yet to finish it, but what I played so far, I'm definitely putting it at 3.
Yo, Manny, you want to know something that wasn't developed?
What's that?
His Spanish.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that would be my disappointment.
Your
Miles
biggest
Morales
disappointment?
is his pronunciation. That's a big disappointment. My second is Streets of Rage 4.
Ah, yes.
Nice.
That game, it was nice to come back to something that was just simple, especially at the time that I did play it. A lot of stuff happened to me this year. Those of you know, and it was just nice to get back to basics to play with my friend. Like the old days.
Yeah, we streamed that. That was fun. We streamed the whole game.
Yeah, we finished the whole game in one stream.
Yep.
And now, how many games can you say that where you just sat in one playthrough? You literally got through the whole game. So yeah, it was
my daughter and I. We finished that game. That was our thing. That's why it's going to be stuck with me forever and her, because that was the first game we just sat down together. She grabbed the controller and we played through the whole thing.
It's a fun game, and just they just did the right things. Like they gave you the stuff that you liked about those games, and they sort of expanded on it, which is what you want from a sequel. So really great work on that one. And then obviously my top for this year is Ghost of Tsushima.
Shit, I forgot you played that.
I got the platinum in it.
Nice.
So that game, it was actually kind of a nice second to sort of get back into gaming after I had been sick and my mom passed away, and it was just nice to kind of escape into this, this really cool, beautiful looking world. One of my favorite portions of my favorite part of that game is obviously the combat and all that stuff, but also just kind of roaming around the environment and seeing the different the different side stories of all the different people, and looking at the views, doing the little the haiku things and stuff like that. It was a nice balance of zen and action. So and I also really enjoyed Jin. I think he was a really cool protagonist, and his struggle between his tradition and and his duty. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Got any disappointments?
Disappointments. I didn't play any sort of disappointments this year, unfortunately.
Fortunately.
Fortunately. So I can't say I was disappointed with it because I didn't play enough to be disappointed with.
Is Ghost of Tsushima going to get a PS5 patch? Do you guys know?
I haven't heard.
I haven't heard anything about it.
We would hope so. We would hope so.
One thing here.
I did.
No. You can.
No, it just
play
runs
it,
at 60 frames.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just essentially is an extension of the PlayStation 4 version, the PlayStation 4 Pro version. But I mean, here's the thing, to go back to Cyberpunk, it does prove that they can put something on the game that senses the new console, because for the PlayStation 4 version of Cyberpunk, that game runs at 60 frames per second. It doesn't even do that on the Pro.
Yeah.
With those little patches for. That's why when people are like, no, my game just got patched. We're like, no, that little patch is just so that way it's like a config file. It's like, all right, here's the specs that you're on. It's
probably has a cap on 60 frames per second on the frame rate, and the PS4 Pro just can't do it. So that's why.
I mean,
It's just-
it could be, yeah, it could mean that. I mean, granted, they are running a locked 30, trying to run a locked 30 on the OG4, but yeah,
Mhm.
maybe they have a thing where in there that just says, okay, yeah, when you're inside of a 5, you run 60, you know.
Could
But yeah,
be.
again, those games just meant a lot this year, so it was good to play.
That's awesome, yeah. Because usually, like for 3 years in a row, like you only have maybe 1 or 2 games you play. This year, actually had a full 3. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, grant like my job is I have so much of my job to do, and I mean, there was a point in time where I wasn't really working. I was sick as fuck because I
Yeah.
had the virus, and I mean, I just had gotten over it when we had sat down. In fact, I think you might notice a couple of episodes where I sort of cut out early because I just felt so sick.
Yeah.
So
Fucking Rona.
yeah, so that was like after the 2 weeks of that, and then just sort of coming back and to kind of have come back with something that wasn't so crazy. It wasn't like a huge, humongous open world game. It was just something simple. Just beat the shit out of all these thugs in your way, and it was great to play. And then to come back after that and play and then sort of get into full gaming mode, playing Ghost of Tsushima.
Good stuff. And Brian, it's always interesting since you don't really play new games. So, what did you play? I know you play Cyberpunk, but other than that, just what have you enjoyed this year? I always change the question for you. What have you enjoyed this year?
Okay, I can kind of do my top 2 games of the year purely because I've been playing stuff not this year. So my top 2 games of the year: Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered campaign. Ooh, what a mouthful. Yeah, as much as I hate the Call of Duty franchise, I hate the online because it's just really makes no sense and it's just meh, and I'd rather just not. But the campaign mode in Call of Duty games have always just been really quite good. And with me, I think that Modern Warfare 2, it hits that sweet spot where it's not overly serious and it's not overly campy. It's just the right amount of everything. So yeah, just playing through like the campaign mode with all the context of like how people got there, who they are, what they're doing, and what's his name? Keith David. Yeah, Keith David. His voice acting is just amazing. I can listen to him for hours on end. Those of you that have played Modern Warfare 2 at all, you would remember Keith David because he just keeps saying the same shit and it's brilliant. That and Carry On, pretty much a Metroidvania where you play as the creature, so it's so much fun. I just never knew that playing a creature just to be there in that scenario of like trying to escape this underground facility with like all these people, it can be so much fun. I loved every moment of it. The first GOG game I got all the trophies for because I just loved it, and plus it's quick and simple. Did play some other games, but just didn't grab me, like Genshin Impact. It starts off good, but then it hits that free-to-play wall really fast, and it just gets completely bad. People were saying, like, if you like the game, focus on 2 out of like 20 characters to actually play, because you won't have enough to actually level up all of them. So I'm like, not wasting my time with that. Played Genshin Impact, played Fall Guys. It was fine for like half an hour, and then it's like, yeah, I'm done with this.
That's how I felt.
It just
yeah,
it just was so weird because again, I was like, okay, it seems like great fun, but then the whole knockout thing, it kind of just gets really tiring, especially when you get knocked out from bullshit. So it's like, I'm not really having all that much fun because I can't seem to pass anything because like after like the first 2 or 3 weeks, everyone was doing like the pro gamer things or like finding like the best path, and it wasn't fun anymore. So yeah. And obviously, biggest disappointment is Cyberpunk. I don't think there's much to be said what's not been said. I think this game is a very interesting case study from lots of points of view. From marketing, development, review cycles. You can pretty much analyze this game from lots of angles and still find something to talk about it. I think this game will be remembered as one of the best games that could have been, but was not, purely because of all the issues it has. And I think that in like a year's time, the game will be where it should be. But right now, it's not there. It's not there where it should be on a game level, and it's not there where it should be in terms of the skills of the developers. So that's why it's a big
Here's a
disappointment.
question for everybody then. When it does come back, because it's been pulled from PSN, eventually will come back on PSN. Do you think it'll come back at the full price, or will it be a discount price?
Full price.
By the way, while you were talking, I was looking into the refund thing because I was under the assumption that if you want a refund, you get a refund. From what I'm reading from Sony's site, it says all gamers who bought the game will get a refund.
Yeah, because at first it was just the whole 2 hours thing.
Yeah, no, it's so again, this may be a stupid question because I'm not a technical guy. What if you bought the game and you're playing it and you're enjoying it? Like, do you just get a free game effectively?
I thought they just meant digital.
I mean, they can't pull the shit from your hard drive. So
I'm guessing they're just going to say, like, if you want the refund, you will get the refund. I'm guessing that's what they're going down.
Yeah.
Because there is a way that they can literally remove the game from your library. It is possible. They can literally make the game not work on your console. They can do that. It's dumb, but it's possible. I don't think they will, because that's just very strange. I think there's a case of we'll have the refund path available for those that want it, and it'll be no questions asked. But those that are having it now and enjoy it, they will continue to enjoy it. Because again,
okay, they're offering it to all gamers. I got you. Okay, so probably Brian, you just made me think about it. You're right. You'll probably get a notice on PlayStation or email. It's like, if you want a refund, go through this, and if you don't, if you're happy, you continue doing what you're doing. All right, that makes sense.
Because the physical copies are still out there in the wild.
Yeah,
you can still go to Walmart and pick it up physically. So they can't really stop the game from working. Well, they can, but
all right, never mind. I answered my own question. Said if we're offering this to you, so you could decline the offer. If you're happy with the game, because a lot of even though on PS5 it could be fucked up too. Like PS5 guys are obviously having a better time of it than the PS4 guys. All right, good to know.
All like 70 people that got a PS5.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, take that how you will. Because I'm thinking like, do I want a refund? I don't know if I want a refund because they're gonna, the patch will eventually come out, the PS5 patch.
But that's the thing. That's eventually take the money now, because that's what I was saying. If it does come back, who knows how long? It most likely will be at a reduced price because they want to show good faith and be like, "Hey, look, we fixed it. Come back, $20 off or whatever."
Who knows? I mean, I think that would be smart, but I'm not sure.
And you also get the free upgrade if you're when that thing comes out.
Yeah,
No,
it would, Adam, I agree. It would be nice. I just don't know if they're going to do it. We'll see. All right, before we wrap up, I just thought about this now, but I'm pretty sure we've done this in the years past. What is your most anticipated game of next year? So that should be fun. I'm going to go down the line here. Adam, most anticipated game of 2021.
Anticipated game of 2021.
I know I caught you guys off guard. I could come back to you if you don't have anything.
I'll go first.
All right, I'll go ahead, Carlos. I already got mine.
Even though it's kind of disappointing some aspects of it, but Horizon Forbidden West is my most anticipated game of next year. I thought
you were going to say your most anticipated game is a fixed up Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, that's number 2.
Say that.
You can theoretically say that.
Well, it's not on PSN store, so it's gonna be. It's probably gonna be
disappointing. Never mind, Carlos. I answered my question. I was like, "What's disappointing about Horizon Zero?" Oh, that's right. It's on PS4 as well.
It's on PS4. Yeah. That's something that I'm like, oh man, really? I understand you want to make as much money as possible, but we already got. Miles Morales is a great experience, but we know it was just a half step between Spider-Man 2018 and what next gen is supposed to do, and I don't want Horizon to do the same thing. But I mean, I love the last game, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be, kind of around the same level. If it's just Horizon 1 looking prettier, I think I'll still like it. And I can't even think of any other games that are coming out.
I have one. The Batman game. The new Batman game that they're working
Gotham
on.
Knights?
Oh, Gotham Knights?
Yeah, the Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
Hopefully that lives up to par, especially on next gen, and see what kind of effects and power they can push into that.
Yep. So that's your most anticipated game?
Yeah. So
All right.
far, because not much has been shown, but that one.
For me, Brian, you're gonna be very mad or disappointed. Ratchet and Clank, man, the new Ratchet and Clank was fucking awesome. Give me that.
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
I think that's gonna be the game that's gonna be like, this is why you need a PS5, man. Looks so good, you know. All right, Manny.
Officially, I haven't seen anything that's struck my fancy. As you all know, I do not own a next-gen console, so next year is all open for me. Whatever.
It doesn't matter. You're still
going
gonna get games on PS4. You know.
I'm still getting. If you know, what was it? Oh, granted, I don't care about Horizon, but I mean, there's probably still going to be some games. You know, some last holdouts for PlayStation 4 that'll probably run like shit.
Yeah. All right.
Man, I am so glad I didn't care about Cyberpunk, man. I just feel so bad for the folks that are really
Because I bought it. It's like, let me be part of the conversation, so I'm not really emotionally invested in it. But it's like, god damn, yeah. If you were really hyped for this shit, I feel bad for you, man. You know?
No, like, and just seeing the state of it on the original PlayStation 4 and the original Xbox One,
you know. Oh man! All right, Brett. What's your most anticipated game of next year?
Fucking the Space Bethesda one.
Is that confirmed for next year?
Right
Starfield?
I don't think that's is that confirmed for 2020?
Is that next year?
No, is that confirmed? By the way, Brett, I fucking know you, bro. I was like, should I say confirmed? And then you go and say Starfield. Yeah, confirmed game for 2021, please.
I'm like Brian. I'm not keeping my eye on the horizon. I don't know what's coming out when.
All right.
At this point.
Oh, so you said Horizon.
Fucking delayed. Yeah. No, definitely. How's this? Anything but Horizon.
Damn.
Wait, no, I do have one. Damn, another one. The God of War. That's coming next year.
That's not confirmed. They said
confirmed.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They never said that, Adam. They never said that.
I'm pretty sure
from your brain.
Yeah, they never confirmed that, man. They never confirmed
that's just I think that's like the anticipation.
Yeah.
We watched it. We said it. We said we couldn't believe it. They said next year. And we're like,
no, that was Horizon, man.
No,
and even that, I don't think that's confirmed. That is confirmed. God of War is not confirmed.
Yeah, it's confirmed. Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon is confirmed. God of War is not. So, gotta wait on that one. You know. All right, Brian, do you have anything?
Hold on, I just want to check something.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Mine was Resident Evil 8.
Ooh, the Village.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that one, but every single bit of that game got leaked.
Yeah, be careful. Some motherfuckers spoil.
I'm avoiding everything because I know about that ransomware hack. Yeah, those guys leaked everything.
Yeah,
stay away from it. I'll still buy it. Fuck that.
Brian's out there checking. Yeah, please, Brian. Don't get me wrong, man. I would love if God of War came out next year, but I don't. think
seeing all these reports, I'll send you. It says 2021.
Where
they had at the end of the trailer of the teaser.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I'll send it to you again.
Yeah.
It's called God of War Ragnarok, and it says for a 2020 release. I just typed that in to see, and all these outlets are posting.
Oh, you're fake news.
Okay, just go to the trailer, and then you'll see it there.
I'm about to watch this right now because I'm like, it's a teaser trailer, right, Brian?
Yeah.
All right.
Like, while you watch that, Tony, just real quick.
I'm just gonna show right to the end, man.
It's like before the Sony's had Marcus sign.
Oh yeah, look at that. It says 2021. Look at that.
Yeah, you see.
Wow. Okay.
A liar.
Adam, you misled us in the past, so you know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, Adam. Yeah.
I told you, Cyberpunk. I thought was going to be the butt of game, and my bad.
I believe
fucked up that one time. All right,
I trusted you.
Fuck. I guess I have to change my answer then. God of War Ragnarok then. Fuck.
Oh, because I remember when we
I just hope, please do not be for PS4. Be an exclusive, man.
I'm changing mine to God of War also.
Yeah.
We were all surprised when we saw that date. We were like, what?
I didn't see that shit.
We do have.
Damn.
We were all together. watched
We
it
actually
together.
do have proof. So
Of me reacting to it.
yeah, we probably do because we watched it live,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Maybe I
Yeah,
was
we
watching
did.
something else. I was watching a chat or something. Who the fuck
Mhm.
knows? Oh man. I think we got everybody. All right, that's gonna do it for this.
You gonna get Brian?
Brian doesn't play games, man. Brian, what you got, man?
I'm actually split between Ghostwire Tokyo and Returnal. And then this is the part of the show where everyone goes like, "Who?"
No, I know.
No, Brian. I actually do because
I remember Ghostwire, but the other one,
no,
Ghostwire is
Returnal. I literally just did a write up about it. But yeah, that's interesting. Ghostwire is the what's her face game, right?
yeah, even though she doesn't work on it
That's
anymore.
literally all I know about that.
And then Returnal is House Marquee.
House Mark is it? Here's my question.
Yeah.
Is it House Marquee or House Mark?
I think it's Mark.
Yeah, I think it's Mark because I've been singing Marquee forever, but somebody corrected me that it's Mark. But yeah, the Resogun people. Yeah, Returnal. I mean, Returnal looks cool. I'll play that shit. You know.
By the way, Brett, I got one for you.
oh
What's up?
Deathloop.
Ooh, is that? Yeah.
yeah, that's actually
okay.
confirmed. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
One of the last Bethesda games.
yep, that's coming to PlayStation because they're going to be exclusive after that to Microsoft.
By the way, real quick, we didn't,
What up?
and this is just an honorable mention. We didn't talk about this as big, one of the big gaming stories, but The Last of Us 2 was fucking divisive as fuck.
Oh, that was a big story, especially all that
And it
bullshit that
leaked.
Naughty Dog was pulling videos down. Neil Druckmann being an asshole, you know,
And it leaked. So, you know,
and it leaked. Ooh, the leaks.
this fucking year, man.
Yeah, that was a
This
big
fucking
story.
year was crazy.
Yeah, that was a big story for sure.
Delays. There was a bunch of delays with that one too.
Oh, yep, that too.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Right, man. So this was the we're gonna do our like big farewells or whatever of during the Wednesday show. But yeah, so this was the first of our last 3 episodes of the year. Next up, we got the AMA special Ask Us Anything or Ask Me Anything, where literally you can ask us whatever you want. For the Throwdown Questions episode 315. Ask us whatever you want. If you want to ask us a gaming thing, you can, but we encourage you to go think outside the box with questions. Get creative, and we're going to give you 3 questions. So again, get creative. Go over to our Discord and ask it in the appropriate Throwdown Your Questions segment, and we're gonna have fun. That's going to be another monster show, just like this one.
Oh, yeah.
And
That'll be a 4-hour show.
yeah, right. And the new edition, because we have to do this. And shout out to Carlos for reminding me. It's like, Tony, we should probably do something about this. So, end of the generation special. We're going to go over the entire generation. That was the 8th generation. And we're going to be joined by our good friend Brian Wilson, who is a big fan of this last generation. So, Carlos, man, you and him are going to go at it, man. Should be.
I'm ready to throw down.
You ready to-
You ready?
Yeah, because B-Will, he's like one of the few people I know that genuinely thinks this generation is one of the best generations ever. So definitely got to get him on, And that's going to do it for us people. So just make sure you follow us on Twitch and Twitter, and YouTube as well, and our Discord, as we said. And you can make sure you follow us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. And you can visit throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. Throwdown Show everywhere, people. And links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco. And tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys. And a little plug. Don't forget to pick up, Dark Knight's Metal, Last 52, War of the Multiverse. I actually did some work for this one. This one's actually going to be coming out. It's going to be the last comic of this year, coming out on the 29th of December. So, yeah, check it out. Also, what's today's date? No more Swim Sanity. You can't get it for free, but you can still buy it if you want to pick it up.
Nice.
And, that's it.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Gotta have some.
Adam Vale.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Brett Murdoch.
It's been real, people.
And Brian Manjoma.
Tony, what's more disappointing, Cyberpunk or Godfall?
Godfall I had no expectations for. But Godfall is that game sucks. Don't play that
And
shit.
Godfall looked bad just when they premiered that shit.
When they premiered, I was like, yo, that game looks suspect as fuck.
El Generico,
you know?
that shit looked.
Cyberpunk with all its bugs is better than Godfall. Fuck that game. You know?
Oh!
All right, people. We'll see you on Sunday. AMA, ask us anything, man. Later.
Laters.
Yes.